الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How is everybody doing today? Ready to get started? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So how did the test go for everyone, the Tajweed quiz? Alhamdulillah, I was looking at the grades and mashallah, everyone did really well. This is everyone who scored 100%. So we had a lot of people this time. So we have Birjaz, Hanan, Sarah F. Khan, Nahimubin, Sarah Khan, Aisha Ansari, Nimra, and Amatullah. Barakallah feekum to you all. So you did really well. And then we also had a couple of people that scored 99%. Mashallah, great job, everyone. All right, let's get started with today's lesson. So today we're going to do ayat 197 through 203. So everyone please get out your mushaf and type 1 when you're ready to repeat after me. All right, let's get started. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحج أشهر معلومات. فمن فرض فيهن الحج فلا رفث ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج. وما تفعلوا من خير يعلمه الله وتزودوا فإن خير الزاد التقوى واتقون يا أولي الألباب ليس عليكم جناح أن تبتغوا فضلا من ربكم فإذا أفضتم من عرفات فاذكروا الله عند المشعر الحرام واذكروه كما هداكم وإن كنتم من قبله لمن الضالين ثم أفيضوا من حيث أفاض الناس واستغفروا الله إن الله غفور رحيم فإذا قضيتم مناسككم فاذكروا الله كذكركم آباءكم أو أشد ذكرا فمن الناس من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا وما له في الآخرة من خلاق ومنهم من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار أولئك لهم نصيب مما كسبوا والله سريع الحساب واذكروا الله في أيام معدودات فمن تعجل في يومين فلا إثم عليه ومن تأخر فلا إثم عليه لمن اتقى واتقوا الله واعلموا أنكم إليه تحشرون All right, inshallah, we're going to stop here for today. The homework is going to be to listen to lesson once and then also recite it 3 times with the reciter. And then after you're done, please don't forget to mark the checklist. And then just a heads up that our next quiz is going to be in January, inshallah, once we finish the remaining of the rules. Barakallahu feekum to you all, and inshallah I will talk to you next week. Subhanaka wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you all? Yes, Birjis. Walaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah. Nice to hear all of you, mashallah, did so good in the Tajweed tests. Barakallahu feekum. Alhamdulillah. Others who did not attempt or got something error, that's fine. Your reward is already set with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, sometimes there are some errors. In the sense, some people are not very good with handling the questions, or how it looks, or sometimes they mark something and something else gets marked, or that's fine. Inshallah, may Allah accept it from you all as long as we are learning. And the more we are putting in effort, the more is our reward. Always keep that in mind, inshallah. Okay, so let's begin with du'as today. We have to complete our last lesson. Tafseer, it's going a little bit more in details. So, alhamdulillah. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين آمين يا رب العالمين. And the du'as we learned, try to keep them in memory, try to recite them before we begin the class, so that we get the benefit out of it. And inshallah, we have a few more to go. And we'll let you know how, inshallah, the time permits. So today we'll begin with Tafseer. We'll start from where we stopped. We did until ayah 193 last week. We'll inshallah continue today from 194. Okay, inshallah. Do you have any questions? If not, then type 1 and then we can begin, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما. Inshallah, we'll begin from ayah number 194. الشهر الحرام بالشهر الحرام. The sacred month is for the sacred month. These verses are about what? They teach us about the laws, the rules of fighting. Fighting has been permitted in Islam. However, there are certain rules that the Muslims have to observe. Amongst the rules are what? What did we learn so far? That transgression in fighting is something that's not allowed. Injustice is something that is not allowed. What else? When a person fights, it should only be for the sake of Allah, not for any personal gain, not for any other objectives, but only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it should only be in defense, or it should only be against those who are hostile towards Muslims, towards Islam. So in other words, fighting against who? Those who fight you, not those who are at peace with you, but rather those who are at war with you, those who have shown their hostility. And we learned that fighting is prohibited in one place. And what is that place? The Haram. The vicinity of the Haram, where the Kaaba is, around that area, the Masjid al-Haram, around that area, it is not allowed for Muslims to fight over there. However, if they are attacked, then what are they supposed to do? Then what are they supposed to do? Fight back, obviously. At that time, they have to defend themselves. So we learned that fighting in the sacred place is something that is not allowed. And now we will learn that fighting in the sacred time is also something that is not allowed. Remember that there are some sacred places and there are also sacred times. There are places and there are certain times of the year when or where a person has to be focused on the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that means that he will not hurt others, he will not fight with others, he will not harm others, which is the reason why in the area of the Haram, we're not allowed to injure any person, we're not allowed to even kill animals, hunting is something that's not allowed, cutting the trees is something that is not allowed. And in the sacred time, in the sacred months, again, fighting is something that is not permissible. So over here, ash-shahrul haramu, the shahr, the month that is al-haram, meaning the month that is sacred. Which months are sacred? Yes. Okay, one is Muharram. How many months are sacred? 4 months are sacred. All right? And these 4 months are which ones? Muharram, Rajab, and then you go back to the end of the year, Dhul Qa'dah and Dhul Hijjah. So basically you start from Dhul Qa'dah. Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, end of the year, and then the first month Muharram, and the second month Rajab. So these 4 months, 2 at the end of the year and 2 at the beginning of the year, these 4 months are sacred, meaning people are not allowed to fight at that time. No battles are allowed, no wars are permissible. So ash-shahrul haramu bish-shahril haram. What does it mean by this bish-shahril haram? Meaning fighting in the sacred month is for aggression that is committed in the sacred month. Meaning if the enemy attacks you, fights you in the sacred month, then you will also fight them at what time? You will delay the war? No. If you're under attack, then you are going to fight back. So just as don't fight in the sacred place unless you are attacked, likewise don't fight in the sacred time unless you are attacked. Ash-shahrul haram bish-shahril haram. Why is this so? Why is this exception made? I mean, we're supposed to respect the Kaaba, the area around it. We're supposed to have respect for these certain times. We cannot fight. But why fight in defense? What's the reason behind that? The reason is that وَالْحُرُمَاتُ قِصَاص. Al-Hurumat is the plural of Hurma, from the root letters Ha, Ra, Mim. And Hurma is that which is sacred. It refers to times or places that are sacred, that have to be respected. So for example, the life of a person, is it supposed to be respected? Yes. The property of another individual, is that supposed to be respected? Yes. Likewise, the symbols, the sha'air of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, the Kaaba, is that a sacred place? Does it have to be respected? Yes. So if a place, if a time which has to be respected, if that is violated, if its sanctity is violated, then what are you going to do? Then there will be qisas for it. There will be legal retribution for it. Remember the word qisas? We learned that earlier as well. It is to take legal retribution, to do exactly as what the criminal did. So they fight you in the sacred month, you have to take legal retribution in the exact same way. Why? Because if the sanctity of the sacred things is violated, you can't just stand there. No, you have to stop them. So this is why you will fight them. So ash-shahrul haramu bish-shahril haram wal-hurumatu qisas. for all the violations, qisas has to be taken. And this is just like if in the area of haram, if a criminal does something wrong, will he be punished in the haram? Yes. So likewise, if a people attack the Muslims in the sacred months, then they will be fought back in the sacred months. Because they did not have respect for the sacred months, their lives will not be saved, will not be spared in the sacred months either. فَمَنِ اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ, then whoever transgresses against you, اعتدى, same root, عند الواو. So whoever transgresses against you, فَاعْتَدُوا عَلَيْهِ, then you assault him, بِمِثْلِ, in the same manner that, mithl, similar, equal to, in the exact same way that, بِمِثْلِ مَا, that, اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ, that he transgressed against you. In other words, whoever attacks you in these times, then you have to fight back in the exact same way. Not that you are attacking them much more forcefully so that you are harming them and you are completely obliterating them. No. If somebody attacks you, if somebody harms you, then you do the exact same thing to them. So in other words, you're not going to fight in offensive, but rather only in defensive. And how much are you going to fight back? Only as much as is necessary. بِمِثْلِ مَا اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ. And this is also general, that if ever a person is harmed by the other, then how much revenge should he take? How much revenge should he take? How much should he harm the other person with? The exact same harm that was done to him. Many times it happens that, for example, within siblings, one pokes the other and the other will poke him and pinch him and slap him. This is zulm. Okay? This is injustice. Whenever a person is taking revenge, it should be only as much as was done to him, not more than that. Because if a person does more, then he becomes a transgressor. He becomes the unjust, and now he has to be punished. So whoever transgresses against you, then assault him in the same manner that he assaulted you, in the same manner that he harmed you. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ, and fear Allah. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ, and you should know that indeed Allah is with those people who have taqwa. Notice how the fear of Allah is mentioned over here. Just as we discussed earlier, that people think that in love, in war, everything is fair. Is it fair? No. You don't follow your desires, even in the most difficult, even in the most emotional situations, where you could be extremely angry, full of rage, full of feelings of revenge. Even at that time, you have to control yourself. And how do you control yourself? With the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is just like if your sibling pokes you, then you want to take revenge, then what will prevent you from doing injustice? The fear of Allah, the consciousness of Allah, that Allah knows how much he harmed me, and Allah knows how much I am harming him in return. So وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. And sometimes it happens that you feel that if you only, inflict them with the same as they inflicted on you, then, they'll think it's okay. We want to teach people a lesson. Don't you dare poke me again. Right? Don't you dare hit me again. So we show to them that if you poke me once, I will hit you, and I will pinch you, and I will do this and that to you, because we want to teach them a lesson. But what does Allah say? You fear Allah, and Allah's help will be with you. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah's help is with those who have taqwa, not those who transgress, not those who are unjust. People who are unjust, because of their injustice, they will be in darknesses on the day of judgment. Darknesses on the day of judgment. And in this world also, Allah does not let them be successful at all. Scholars have said that Allah will let a government, a people thrive with disbelief. Meaning, even if a people are disbelievers, Allah will let them live. But if they commit injustice, then Allah will not let them survive. Sooner or later, their time will come to an end. And we see this, that even amongst Muslims, there have been so many people throughout history who, as long as they were fair and just, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let them survive. But when they become tyrants, when they become unjust on their own people, then sooner or later their time comes to an end. So Allah's help is with who? With those who have the fear of Allah. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. That we learned earlier that fighting should only be fi sabilillah, for the sake of Allah, meaning if a person is attacked because of his religion. But let's say a person is attacked for some other worldly reason. Is he allowed to defend himself? Of course he has to defend himself. And this is the reason why the law of qisas is there. Right? We learned earlier about the law of qisas. For example, if a person is killed, it's not necessary that he's killed because of his Islam. I mean, Muslims kill others as well. Isn't it so? So at that time, if an innocent person is harmed, is he not allowed to defend himself? Of course he will. But again, how much will he inflict on the other? As much as was done on him. Okay? And this is, from a very small level all the way to a very big level. So small level, like the example I gave you, within siblings, right? And then at a mass level, at a huge level, at a greater level, within nations. All right? So we must remember this rule. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. If we want the help of Allah, then we have to have the fear of Allah. Because as long as a person is fearful of Allah, he is seeking help from Allah. Allah will assist him. Allah will take care of him. And when a person does not care about Allah, then Allah does not even care about him. What do we learn? فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. We remember Allah and Allah will remember us. But if we ignore Allah, if we don't care about the rules that He has given to us, then Allah will also not help us then. And even in things such as a test, an exam that we're writing. At that time, a person could think, I don't know the answer to this question, let me just look at what the other person is writing. He's ignoring Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't have fear of Allah. Will Allah's help be with him? No. But it's possible that at the same time, if he has the fear of Allah and he says, no, I'm not going to cheat right now. I'm not going to look at other people right now. I'm going to focus on my own test and I'm going to seek help from Allah. Then it's quite possible that he remembers the answer. Doesn't it happen? So many times. All of a sudden you feel you're completely blank and within moments, everything comes back to you. So this comes from whose idhn? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Likewise, when it comes to family problems, people like to take things in their own hands. And they transgress against one another. They deprive each other of their rights. And they feel that if they don't show to the other, then the other will take advantage of them. But what should we remember? That Allah is watching us. This is only a test. If we have the fear of Allah, if we react in the proper way, then Allah will assist us. Remember that hadith in which a man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said that I try to have good relations with my relatives, but they cut off with me. They don't establish any good relations with me. I mean, as much good I do to them, they're still bad to me. So the Prophet ﷺ said to him that you keep doing your good, and as long as you're doing that, it is as though you are putting ashes in their mouth. Meaning you have the upper hand over them. Allah's help is with you. So in any situation, whether it is at work or it is in family, any kind of conflict situation, when a person has the fear of Allah, what does Allah say? That Allah is with him. Allah will not leave him. And a hadith tells us that man tawada'a lillah rafa'ahu Allah. Whoever lowers himself for the sake of Allah, then Allah will raise him. Allah will raise him. So you might feel that if you're not really punishing the other, taking full revenge and doing more to the other, then you will lose. No, you will never lose out. Allah will raise you. Allah will give you victory. So وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. وَأَنْفِقُوا, and spend. From the root letters, nun fa qaf, infaq. Spend, O Muslims, in what? Fi sabilillah, in the way of Allah. What should you spend? What should you spend? By the way, what is fi sabilillah? What does it mean by in the way of Allah? We say this a lot, but we don't really know what it means. What does it mean by in the way of Allah? Yes. Okay, so first of all, for the sake of Allah. Because sabil is way. All right? So you're spending in a way that will take you to Allah, meaning that will take you to the pleasure of Allah. And what is that way? That it has to be done sincerely for Him. So spending in the way of Allah, first of all, means that a person spends with the right intention to earn the pleasure of Allah. He's not spending to show off. He's not spending so that other people can thank him, other people can praise him. No, only for the sake of Allah. What else does it mean? In the way of Allah. Let me ask you a question. If I want to give something for the sake of Allah, then okay, I have the money. I want to do it only for the sake of Allah. What do I do with that money? Where should I spend it? Where should I put it? Who should I give it to? Huh? Who should I give it to? Yes? Those whom Allah has told us to give that money to give that wealth to. So who's included in that? Who's included in that? Okay, masakeen. Yes? Okay, we have learned earlier about وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ ذَوِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينَ وَابْنَ السَّبِيلِ وَالسَّائِلِينَ وَفِي الرِّقَابِ. Right? So any way, any cause, any person whom Allah has told to spend on is what? In the way of Allah. But there's one thing especially. And what is that? For the sake of the deen. Because fi sabilillah, okay, sabilillah is actually the religion of Allah. Because it is that way of life that takes you to the pleasure of Allah. It's that way of life that has been ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So infaq fi sabilillah is to spend according to the laws of the deen, okay? According to the instructions that we find in our religion, but it is also for the deen, especially for the religion. Okay? So for example, what is included in this is that a person spends, why? To apply the deen. For example, he's going for Hajj. Okay? This is fi sabilillah. Likewise, he spends in order to promote the deen. So for example, there are people who want to learn the deen, they want to learn the Quran, they want to learn the Sunnah, so to buy books for them. Not necessarily because they're poor, they can't afford the books, but you buy the books anyway because, if they're going to read from those books, if they're going to study from those books, imagine everything they study, everything they learn, everything they implement and pass on, who gets the reward for that as well? You do too. Right? Likewise, in the defense of the religion. And these verses in particular, what are they about? Fighting, right? Defense. So likewise, if there is a time when the religion has to be defended and money is required, then you should spend in that. So for example, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there were many battles. And at that time, Muslims, whenever they went for any battle, whose money would they take? Who would sponsor them? They themselves. Or they would sponsor one another. They would help out each other. The wealthy companions, they would, contribute a lot. Food, money, animals so that people could ride on them. Likewise, armor, weapons, all of that. They brought their own stuff. They spent out of their own pockets. So this is what? Infaq fi sabilillah. Alright? So we can categorize infaq fi sabilillah into three things. First of all, in the application of religion. Secondly, in support of religion, in defense of religion. And thirdly, in the promotion of religion. To make other people aware of what the deen is. To educate people about the deen. So Allah says, وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. The money that you have, what do you spend that on? What do you spend that on? To fulfill your needs, right? Okay. What else do you spend that money on? So for example, you're buying food, you're buying clothes with that. What else do you spend that money on? To protect yourself? How? Okay, for example, house, people spend on their insurance, right? Likewise, their funds, right? So that they can get their retirement funds later. So I'm not talking about whether it's halal or haram, it's a different discussion. But I'm just saying that this is what people spend their money on, right? So on their needs, on their protection, as well as their advancement, right? So for example, a person will spend money on taking a course, on studying at university, getting another certification. Why? Because they want to grow mentally, spiritually, however, physically, in different ways. So the fact is that when something is important to you, like yourself is important to you, what will you do? You will spend. And you won't just spend to fulfill your needs only, to fulfill the needs of that thing only. No, you will also spend to make it grow. You will spend to protect it, to preserve it. Likewise, when the religion of Allah becomes an important thing to a person, it becomes like a personal matter, that just as he's concerned about his own life, his children's life, then he will be concerned about the deen as well. Then what will he do? He will not just think, okay, how much donation can we give this month? Okay, $5 is enough. Yeah, I gave sadaqah, 2 months back at that masjid that I went to, I put $10 in the box. Really? Is that what you do with yourself? You think that 2 months ago you bought groceries and you don't need to buy anymore? Is that what you think? Never. Do you ever tell yourself that you bought yourself a winter jacket 5 years ago and now you don't need any more jackets? No, even if you have 3, you will say, yeah, I want another one. Do you ever tell yourself that, yes, I've studied in school 12 years, 11 years, how many ever years you study in high school over here, and then I don't need to go to university, I've spent enough money on my books and my stationery, why bother to spend more on all these school fees and books and all of that? Do you ever do that? No. People willingly, happily spend on themselves. Why? Because they care about themselves. They know that it's necessary to spend money on yourself. If you don't spend money, you won't grow. You won't survive. Likewise, when it comes to the deen, if it's really important to us, then we won't say, yeah, I gave that donation last year. Yes, I gave my zakat to a masjid. No, a person will think, how else can I help? What else can I contribute? What else can I give? Where else can I give? He will be looking for opportunities. So Allah says, وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Spend in the way of Allah. If this religion is important to you, then be concerned about the welfare of religion. Be concerned about the promotion, about the preservation of religion, and spend for that cause. And we think that spending for the sake of the religion is only helping a masjid. But is that all? Is that all? Helping the masjid, is that everything? No. We learn here telling other people about the deen. And if you have to spend anything on that, is also infaq fi sabilillah. So for example, if you are taking this course, you are studying, and you come here every weekend, you drive, and you spend money on the gas, right? It gets expensive sometimes. Likewise, you're coming here and you have to buy books and you have to buy stationery. You have to buy one book after the other. It gets expensive. What should a person think? I am spending in the way of Allah. I am spending in the way of Allah. When it comes to giving gifts to each other, many times we think of only material things. We gift a hijab, we gift a whatever we can find, whatever we can think of. But if we give gifts which are such that they will actually educate a person about the religion, a good book, a good lecture CD, then this is also what? Infaq fi sabilillah. So وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Spend in the way of Allah. وَلَا تُلْقُوا. And do not throw. Tulqu is from the root letters lam, qafiyah. Laqiya, to meet, and ilqa, to throw. So la tulqu, do not throw, bi-aydikum, with your own hands. Aidi is the plural of yad. Don't throw with your own hands. Don't throw what? Don't throw yourselves. Into what? Ila tahluka, into destruction, to destruction. Don't throw yourselves to destruction. How? How would a person throw himself into destruction? By not spending in the way of Allah. What is at-tahluka? Tahluka is from the root letters ha, lam, kaf. And tahluka, halak, destruction. And remember that there are two types of destruction. One is physical, hissi, and the other is intangible, ma'nawi. What is the physical, what is the tangible destruction? So, for example, a person throws himself into the fire. This is what? Killing oneself. Destroying oneself physically. Likewise, a person jumps into water and he knows he doesn't know how to swim and he jumps into the deepest lake ever. And what is he doing? Throwing himself into destruction. Right? Likewise, a person sleeps under a wall that is about to collapse. Then what is he doing? What is he doing? He's throwing himself into destruction. The second type of destruction is ma'nawi. It is intangible. What does it mean? That a person does something or does not do something that will be a cause of his ruin. So for instance, a person has been studying for an entire year. And when the time comes to write the exam, he sleeps in. He doesn't show up for the exam. Is he destroying himself? Is he? Yes, he is. He's wasting his life. He's wasting all that money, all those hours that he spent in preparing, in studying. That is destroying oneself. Likewise, if a person does not find a job, okay, he does not find a job, then what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Can he grow financially? No, he cannot. How much can he live off of his parents? For how long? Is he going to grow financially? No. Will he be able to get married, have a family soon? No. Will he be able to afford a house, a car? No. Will he be able to travel around? No. Will he be able to socialize with other people? No. Because if a person does not have money at all, he doesn't earn any money, then what is he doing? He is destroying himself. Right? And this is the reason why parents are so concerned about their children. Go to school, study properly, so that you can be something, so that you can work and you can make money and you can stand on your feet. The other day somebody was telling me about this person who has been out of high school since over 10 years perhaps now, and they don't have a job. They don't work. They don't work. What do? Nothing. Nothing at all. They don't have a car. They bike around everywhere. They cannot afford bus passes, so they just take their bike and they go wherever they have to. They don't have much of a social network. They don't really go to the masajid that much because they cannot go. What is this person doing? Really, if you think about it, when they die, what are they leaving behind on this earth? I heard in a lecture recently that this person was saying that I am leaving behind in this world just another grave. That's the only impact that I'm making to this world. So if a person does not do something with his life, something meaningful, something purposeful, then what is he doing? He's wasting himself. He's destroying himself. Each day is going by, each month is over, each year is over, and what have you achieved? Nothing. What have you gained? Nothing. What do you want to do? Nothing. So what is a person doing then? He's wasting himself. He's destroying himself. So Allah says, "La tulqu bi aydikum ila tahluka." Don't throw yourselves into destruction. And over here in particular, what does this mean? This is intangible destruction, and this means that if you don't spend for the deen, if you don't spend for the preservation, for the promotion of the deen, if you don't spend for the application of deen, then what are you doing? You are destroying yourself. So for example, a person has money, they can go for Hajj, but they say no, too expensive. They don't mind buying a ring for $5,000, but when it comes to buying a Hajj package, oh my God, too expensive. So what are they doing? They're throwing themselves into destruction. Because if a person can afford to do Hajj and he does not perform Hajj, then he can die as a Jew or a Christian. Doesn't matter. Allah doesn't care. that person's Islam is not acceptable. So what is he doing? He is throwing himself into destruction. Likewise, if a person does not care about the protection of religion, then what's going to happen? Eventually, he will be harmed as well. Eventually, people will also attack him. And this happens. That people think that if they only have a Muslim name, if they only have a Muslim name, a Muslim family, they don't have to live like Muslims, they don't have to practice Islam, and they can live however they wish to, everything will be fine. It won't be fine. When people turn against Muslims, they don't care whether someone wears hijab or they don't. They don't care whether someone has a beard or they don't have a beard. When people become biased against your faith, they don't care about your level of religiosity. So if you don't strive to protect the religion, then what are you doing? You're destroying yourself. Sooner or later, you will be in trouble. Likewise, if a person does not strive, he does not spend to promote the religion, and ignorance, misconceptions about the religion are all over, then what's going to happen? He's throwing himself into destruction, because eventually, sooner or later, he will also suffer. So, وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Think about it. If the Sahaba at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, if they did not spend whatever they had for the protection of the deen, would we have Islam today? Would we have Islam today? We wouldn't, perhaps. They spent whatever they had, whatever they could afford. A companion worked all night, and all that he got at the end was a handful of dates, and he brought that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the religion, for the preservation, for the protection of religion. So whatever you have, bring it, spend it, because you have to protect this religion for your sake. For your sake. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً. Fear the fitna, the trial, that will not just inflict those who are doing injustice amongst you only. No. Even those people who are being very passive, they will be affected as well. So it's our obligation that we take our religion seriously. We protect it as we protect ourselves. We promote it as we promote ourselves. We want people to have the right understanding of religion as we want people to have right thinking about us. If anybody has wrong thinking about us, if they are misinformed about us, what do? We go to great lengths to clarify that. And people have misconceptions about the religion, and we can say, oh, it doesn't matter. Somebody else will do it. Who will clarify that if you don't stand up? Somebody has to do it, right? So you have to stand up, you have to spend. So وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Don't throw yourselves into destruction. And this is a very serious matter. If we don't spend in the way of Allah, then we are harming ourselves. And remember that spending does not just mean giving money. Spending means giving of yourself as well, giving of your time, your ability, your talents as well. Many times it happens that people become selfish, or they're only concerned about themselves. And they think that if they're taking time out to learn their religion or to help other people understand their religion, then they're doing that extra step, and it's not that necessary. What does this ayah teach us? Is it necessary to take that extra step? To teach other people about the religion? It is. Because suppose you know how to pray, you know how to recite the Quran, okay, and you're living in your family and your children are growing up. If you don't volunteer to teach other people the Quran, if you don't do it, then what's going to happen? Other people are not going to learn, right? And when other people are not going to learn, then tell me, who is going to teach your children if you die? Who is going to teach your children if you die? If you don't spread the knowledge that you have, then who's going to care about your children? Don't we know about so many people who have reached adulthood, but they still don't know how to read Quran fluently? They still have no idea about what they're saying in their prayers? They have no idea about the simple matters of religion. They don't know. Why? Because we complain there are no teachers. There's no one to teach their religion. You know why? Because those who know are only concerned about themselves. They think me first, my job first, my family first. Okay, after one comes two, right? So after your family, there has to be somebody else that you should be looking out for. You should be caring about. So we must make this very clear to ourselves that if we want to be safe in this dunya and in the akhirah, then we have to take our religion very, very seriously. It has to become a personal affair, a personal matter, something that we cannot separate from our lives, but it has to be a part of our lives. And only if we live like that can this religion thrive. And this religion will survive anyway. Allah does not need us. But if we make this religion a part of our daily lives, then only can we survive. Then only can this deen pass on to our children, to our succeeding generations. So, وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ وَأَحْسِنُوا, and do ihsan. Because sometimes we think that if we're spending our time, our money, we're volunteering or whatever to teach the religion, to help the cause of the religion, to help an Islamic organization, this is too much. What does Allah say? Okay, do too much. Do ihsan. وَأَحْسِنُوا. You're talking about ihsan towards your children, towards your relatives. Ihsan, the deen also deserves some ihsan. وَأَحْسِنُوا. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Indeed, Allah loves those people who do ihsan. Muhsinin is a plural of muhsin, and yuhibbu from hub, hababa. Allah loves those people who do ihsan. And if this was the only benefit of doing ihsan, that Allah loves such people, then it would be justified to do ihsan. It would be good enough of a reason to do ihsan, that Allah loves those people who do ihsan. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. We'll listen to the recitation and then a few more things.
الشهر الحرام بالشهر الحرام والحرمات قصاص فمن اعتدى عليكم فاعتدوا عليه بمثل ما اعتدى عليكم واتقوا الله واعلموا أن الله مع المتقين وأنفقوا في سبيل الله ولا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة وأحسنوا إن الله يحب المحسنين.
Many times we think that if we make money ourselves, if we have a job and we're earning, then we should spend in the way of Allah. But we learn that spending is not just with money. Supporting the deen is not just with the money that you can give, but it can be in any way that you can help the cause. There was a woman at the time of the Prophet ﷺ who used to clean the masjid. She used to just come and clean the masjid. She wasn't hired. She wasn't getting paid for that. Nor was she getting any community service hours in return. No, nothing in return. She was doing it, why? Because she loved the masjid. Why did she love the masjid? Because she loved the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when a person loves the religion of Allah, then he loves everything that is associated to it. Then he doesn't mind giving of himself. So we also need to think that how can we contribute, how can we help out for the cause of Islam, for the religion of Islam, whatever that we can do. And each person has been given different talents, different abilities. One person could have money, okay, he should use that. Another person could have been given, smart brains, so he should learn the deen, he should specialize in the religion so that he can pass on that religion to others. Another person may have a lot of free time, so come and help other people out. Another person could be physically able, physically very energetic, so help other people with that energy that Allah has given you. But do something, because if we don't help the deen of Allah, then we are throwing ourselves into destruction. We are offering ourselves for the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what we are doing. Now many times it happens that we go to, for example, a masjid, okay? And in that masjid, there's air conditioning and there's clean carpets and everything. You think all of that is happening for free? It's just the money is falling from the sky? The donation boxes are full of money, they're erupting with money. Every time they need the money, just open the donation box and they find money there. Is that what happens? Whenever a place is run, whenever an organization is run, whenever even a small place, even a small group of people are coming together to do something, tell me, do you need money for that? Yes, you do. You do. And is money everything? No, you also need people. You need other resources as well. So we all need to open up our eyes and start looking at such places, at such events, at such groups, so that we can put our share into it. We can put our share into it. The other day, I had my daughter's ears pierced, okay? And my mother-in-law, when she saw, she was so happy, immediately she went and she got money and gave it to her. And she's like, it's for her, okay? It's for her. And I was thinking, why did she give money to her? Because she wanted to be a part of that event. It's not that big of a deal, but she loves her granddaughter so much that she wanted to be a part of that thing, right? So when you love something, you look for opportunities. You don't say, okay, yeah, they spent money out of their own pockets and they should have. They're the parents anyway. They're the ones who started this, so they should spend it. No problem. Why did she spend? Because she loves her granddaughter. Likewise, we think, oh, masjid, it's not our masjid. This masjid is for Arabs, this masjid is Pakistanis, this masjid is Somalis. They're the ones who started it, so they should take care of it. Yeah, I went once and that's it. No. If you love the religion of Allah, you will love every single masjid. You will love every single organization. You will not pick and choose. I give donation here and not here. I volunteer here and not here. Then you will look for opportunities. And if a person doesn't, then he is throwing himself into destruction. So لا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة وأحسنوا إن الله يحب المحسنين. I want all of you to stand up, and I want you to share with the person standing next to you as to what you will do to spend in the way of Allah. And it has to be something that is practical. Not that next time I go to a masjid I will put money in the donation box. No. Something practical. Realistic. She said she was going to buy some dua books and give them out to her friends. Excellent idea. What else can we do? Okay, you want to distribute the translation of the Quran to her neighbors? Good. So there is a shelf that she found in the masjid which she thinks is very messy. So she says she's going to clean it up, inshallah. I'll check tomorrow. Inshallah. So there's a dawah booth somewhere and she's going to volunteer over there every Saturday. So if you know about somebody who has been asking you questions about Islam and you know that they have some kind of misconceptions maybe or misunderstanding, then it is your obligation that you clarify to them. So she said that she shared an article with someone and that really helped her clear her thinking. So inshallah, she's going to help in this dawah organization in sending emails. That's a very good thing to do. We think only spending money, but the actual work, people are missing. People are not there to do that. What are you going to do? What kind of help?
Like over here when they have the teachers that can assist them and help them teaching the kids.
Okay, so help teach the kids. Okay, help out in any way that you can. I want real practical stuff. The stuff that you can think, okay, I'm going to do this, and you can go and do it. Yes? So at a masjid iftar, but outside of Ramadan as well? So for example, if we come 10 minutes early, then we can help set up this classroom. And if, let's say, we don't show up, then you know what's going to happen? Eventually nobody's going to show up and set up the classroom, and just like we don't have desks right now, chairs right now, perhaps we won't have benches then. Because if there's nobody to do it, eventually, you won't have anything, right? So if you want to help yourself, then you have to help others. You have to help the deen of Allah. Whenever you're helping the deen of Allah, remember you're actually helping yourself. We think somebody else will do it, but who is that somebody else? Who is that he or she? It has to be you and I. Because if we don't fill that gap, who will? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent angels at the time of Badr and Uhud and every time the Prophet ﷺ was in a battle, but it's because they did their best. And we think, yeah, angels will descend and we just sit on our hands and sip on our tea. So there are many people who will read the Quran, but they don't know what it means. So helping them understand by providing them translation books or lecture CDs or tafseer books or whatever it is, helping them out in that way. You know, in the month of Ramadan, they have these iftars at the masjid. How many people attend those? How many people have actually been to one at least in their entire lives? Okay, everybody has, right? So, has anybody had like a wedding in their family or, you know, a big party for which they had to rent out a facility and pay for food per plate? Anybody? How much did you pay for one plate? $25. What else? Any other person paid? Anybody has an idea of how much they paid per person? $35. Anything else? Any other? Yes? $65. Okay. Imagine if you have 200 people showing up at your wedding and you're paying, let's say, $20 a plate. Still, is that a lot of money? Is that? It's quite a lot. You know how many people show up at an iftar at a masjid, typically? 100? No way. More than 100. 300, 400, sometimes more, sometimes less. Now just imagine each person is having food, and that food is not, you know, plain pasta with some pasta sauce on it, but it's real food. Where do you think that money is coming from? Where? Where do you think it's coming from? Somebody's pockets, right? And imagine, whoever is spending that money, are they getting ajr for every person who's eating? Yes. So what should we do then? We should also put our share into these things. I'm not saying sponsor an entire iftar so that you have to spend $2,000 which you don't even have, but I'm saying that spend whatever you can, even a little bit. I know this lady who, whenever she goes to any masjid, you know what she does before leaving? She puts sadaqah in that masjid. She said, I used this masjid. I used this facility. I went to their washroom, used their slippers, used their water. And I went to the masjid and prayed over there. So I used that facility. So I have to pay the masjid back in some way or the other so that this khair, this good can continue. So whenever we go to any Islamic center, any Islamic organization, we benefit from there even a little bit, then we shouldn't just be concerned about paying our fees or anything like that, but also helping out in other ways. And again, not just money, but people. You know, sometimes I come and I see shoes all over the floor. And it happens with children, they become lazy, they don't want to put them up on the shelves, and there's plenty of room on the shelves, but they don't want to do that, they leave everything on the floor, and once the front is blocked, then everybody starts putting their shoes behind that. And if we have the time, if we have the energy, we can simply pick those shoes up and put them on the shoe racks, right? But we don't think to do that. We think somebody else will, or we think it's not important. Honestly, would you like such a mess in your own house? Would you? Never. If you go to your washroom, there are guests over, and the washroom is dirty, somebody spilled water on the floor, what are you going to do? Ew, and walk out? If you do that, it's an insult to you, right? So why is it that when we go to a masjid and we see the washrooms dirty, we're like, okay, yeah, there's paper, who cares? So filthy, this management, man, they don't know anything. Do something yourself. Do something yourself. It's about time that we take our religion seriously. We take this as a personal matter. This masjid is mine. This Islamic center is mine. I benefit from it. I use it. I have to take care of it in whatever way that I can. Yes. But I'm not saying that at a masjid it costs that much, but close to that, around that. Okay, let's continue. Ayah number 196. وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ وَأَتِمُّ. Atimmu is from the root letters ta, mim, mim, from the word tamam, itmam, to complete something, to perform something fully in such a way that nothing at all is left out. So atimmu, it's a command. You should complete. You should completely perform. You should fully carry out. What? Al-Hajj, the Hajj, wal-Umrata, and the Umrah. For who? Lillahi, for Allah. وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. Complete the Hajj and the Umrah for the sake of Allah. What is Al-Hajj and what is Al-Umrah? Hajj and Umrah, they are, you can say, the pilgrimage that a person performs. He goes where? To the Kaaba, to the house of Allah, and he performs a pilgrimage over there. Hajj is the major, the greater pilgrimage, and Umrah is the minor, the lesser pilgrimage. Hajj is from Hajim Jim. Hajja is to intend. So Hajj is to intend to go to the house of Allah at a particular time to perform certain rituals. So Hajj, it cannot be performed any time of the year, but it has to be performed at a specific time of the year. And in Hajj, you don't just go visit the Kaaba, pray Salah and come back. No, there are certain rituals that you have to perform. And Umrah. What is Umrah? It is from Ain Mim Ra. We have done the word Ya'muru, right? So it means to populate a place. Okay? To populate a place. So Umrah is, you can say, a visit to the house of Allah. The constant visits to the house of Allah by people throughout the year, which keeps the haram, which keeps the house of Allah populated and busy. There's no place on this earth that is as busy as Baytullah. Any other place. It could be a mall, it could be a theme park, could be anything. What happens to it? It eventually shuts down for at least a day, or a part of a day, or a week, or a month, or a season, right? Even for renovations. But the house of Allah, no matter what is happening, even if it's being cleaned, or the kiswa, the cover of the Kaaba is being changed, or there are renovations going on, is it ever shut down? Never. Why? Because there are people coming for Umrah. They're constantly populating the place. So Allah says that Atimmul Hajj wal Umrah, complete the Hajj and Umrah lillahi, for Allah. Meaning when you go to perform Hajj, then complete it. And when you go to perform Umrah, then complete it. Don't do like this, that you're on your way and you perform one ritual and you're like, I'm too tired, man. Forget it. Next time, I'm going home. No. Once you make the intention to perform the Hajj, to perform the Umrah, then you have to complete it. You know, professionals, one of their qualities is that they finish what they start. They don't have 20 projects that are still going on and they're like, yeah, I'm supposed to do it, but I can't do it. No. Whatever they start, they finish it, they complete it. So for example, if you are a professional person and you started this course, then what will you do? Inshallah, you will complete it. And if you don't complete it, what does that mean? You have a casual attitude. You're not serious, not a professional. So anyway, Allah says, وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. Allah says, lillah. What does that mean? That when a person performs Hajj or he performs Umrah, then he must do it for whose sake? For the sake of Allah. It is the right of Allah that these rituals be performed for His sake exclusively. In Surah Al-Imran, ayah 97, we learn, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. Due to Allah from the people is a pilgrimage to the house for whoever is able to find their way. Meaning whoever is able to take the journey, he must perform the Hajj for whose sake? For whose sake? For the sake of Allah. Because if a person performs even the biggest good deed, but not for the sake of Allah, then it's not accepted. So وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجِّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. So there are two things that we learn from this. First of all, that complete Hajj and Umrah. And secondly, do it for whose sake? For the sake of Allah. Even when it came to fasting, we learned وَلِتُكْمِلُ الْعِدَّةَ, complete the number of fasts. Don't leave them incomplete. Don't leave them unfinished. Likewise, Hajj and Umrah, once you set out, you have to complete. And you see, these are acts of worship. And anything that you care about, what do? You complete it, you finish it. And if you don't finish it, what does it mean? You don't really care about it. So for example, if you have, an essay that you're supposed to write, and you write half of it, but you don't complete it, can you submit it? No, you can't. Can you get any marks for it? Not at all. Can you be graded for it? No, you can't. And if you don't complete it, you don't submit it, what does it mean? You don't care about it. Because if you cared about it, then you would definitely complete it. If you don't complete something, it means that you've lost interest in it. But Hajj and Umrah are rituals, and just the fact that they're acts of worship, they deserve respect. And what does it mean? That once we start, we should complete. And by extension, any good thing we begin, what should we do? We should complete it. But let's say a person sets out to perform Hajj, to perform Umrah, but a situation happens. And what is that? فَإِن, so if. This is the first scenario. أُحْصِرْتُمْ, you were restricted. Ha, sad, ra. Hasr. Hasr is to surround something. Okay? And ihsar is to surround something, to encircle something so that it is restrained within. It cannot come out. Okay? It cannot come out. So, أُحْصِرْتُمْ, you were restrained. Meaning you were prevented from continuing the journey. So for example, a person gets their Hajj visa, they leave from their country, they're on their way, they get to, let's say, Jeddah, and when they're there, they say, no, there's a problem with your visa, we can't let you in, you have to go back. And you're like, no, this is valid, this is this. And they're like, no, because of whatever reason, and you don't understand what they're saying, and they can't understand what you're saying. So they say you can't come, and they put cancel stamp on your passport, and you're supposed to be going home on the next flight. أُحْصِرْتُمْ, you were prevented. Whatever the reason was. You're not able to go, you're not able to continue. Similarly, it's possible that a person is on his way and he falls extremely ill. Let's say 2 days into Hajj, he's at Mina, for example. Okay? He's at Mina and he's so sick, he is so ill that he cannot continue. He's prevented by illness. Alright? Or for example, something happened back home. A person is going for Hajj, he gets there early, a week in advance, and before even the day of Hajj begins, he gets a call, your mother is extremely ill, get back right now. So he has to go. He left with the intention of Hajj, but he can't complete it. So it could be different situations. So فَإِنْ أُحْصِرْتُمْ, then what should a person do? Then he will obviously discontinue his Hajj or his Umrah because his circumstances don't allow him to continue. But can he just come out of the state of Ihram? Because remember that in Hajj and Umrah, a person is in the state of Ihram, right? And you can't come out of the state of Ihram until you have performed all of the rituals. Okay? Inshallah, we'll go into the details later, but just something small to make you understand that you can't just come out of the state of Ihram like that. You can only come out after you have completed all of your rituals. The rituals include, for example, slaughtering the animal, likewise cutting off the hair, doing the rami, so on and so forth. So, but if a person has not done that, so what is he going to do? Can he just come out? Yes, he will, but he has to do something else in return to make up for what he did. And what is that? He has to slaughter an animal. So Allah says, فَمَا اسْتَيْسَرَ. فَمَا, so whatever, istaysara, it was easily available. Ya, sin, ra, yusr. What does yusr mean? Ease. So istaysara, it was easily available. It was feasible, you can obtain with ease, min al-hadi, of the sacrificial animal. Meaning then you have to offer whatever sacrificial animal is easily available to you. Meaning whatever you can afford. Al-hadi is from the root letters hadaliya, and hadi is the animal that is offered as sacrifice. By the way, people sometimes feel that why do you have to sacrifice animals, as a part of worship? It's not a big deal. I mean, you eat meat all the time. Don't we eat meat all the time? People slaughter animals all the time. So, you slaughter an animal as a ritual as well. There's nothing gross about that. Okay? The blood, you don't do anything with that. You have to discard it. Okay? The blood does not become holy. No, the meat does not become holy. It's just that the animal has to be slaughtered to show that you can spend anything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's symbolic. So anyway, فَمَسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدِي. Hadi is the animal that is offered as a sacrifice, the sacrificial animal. But why is it called hadi? It's called hadi because remember the meaning of the word huda? Hidayah, what does that mean? Guidance. And it means to go from one point to the other. From one point to your destination. So hadi is the animal that is taken from outside of the haram into the haram. People would bring it with themselves. And it would be sent to the haram, to its mahil. And then it would be slaughtered over there. So likewise, hidayah is what? Transformation, that a person was at point A and now he is different. Sometimes people want to know, am I rightly guided? Then you have to check yourself. Are you different from how you were before? How's your salah? How's your heart? How's your thinking? How's your dhikr? How's your habits? That will reflect whether you have transformed or not. So anyway, فَمَسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدِي. So this is the expiation for not completing the Hajj or Umrah. What is the expiation that a person has to? Has to offer a sacrifice, right? Sacrificial animal. And which animal does it have to be? Which animal does it have to be? An elephant? No, you can't slaughter elephants for Hajj. A camel? A goat? A sheep? What should it be? Whatever a person can afford. Whatever he is able to do. فَمَسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدِي. One more thing that you have to do to come out of the state of ihram is that you have to shave, you have to cut your hair. For the men, shave the hair or trim it. And for the women, trim a little. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that وَلَا تَحْلِقُوا, and do not do halq. Ha, lam, qaf. Halq is to shave, right? To completely remove. And qasr is to shorten. And over here does not mean that you have to shave, but meaning don't cut your hair, don't do that yet. رُؤُوسَكُمْ, ru'us is a plural of ra's. So don't shave off your heads, meaning don't shave the hair of your head or don't trim it, حَتَّى until يَبْلُغَ, it reaches, ba, lam, ghain. Until it reaches al-hadiyu, the sacrificial animal, where mahillahu, its place of slaughter, its destination. So a person has to offer an animal, it has to be sacrificed, but only after the animal is sacrificed, then he will shave the hair or trim the hair, and after that, a person is out of the state of ihram. He is officially not doing Hajj anymore. And there's no sin on him, there's no blame on him. What is mahil? Mahil is from the root letters ha, lam, lam, and halal is halal. Okay, permissible. So mahil is the place where an animal is going to be made halal, meaning it's going to be slaughtered. It's that place. What is that place? That place, it is the haram. Okay, it is the haram. That's where the hadi is sent. But let's say a person is not able to get the sacrificial animal all the way to the haram, then what should they do? What should they do? Think about it. I'll tell you an incident. The Prophet ﷺ and the companions, they set out in the 6th year of Hijrah in order to perform Umrah. And at this time, still the mushrikeen and Muslims were at war. Okay. Now imagine the Prophet ﷺ, the Muslims are going to Makkah to perform Umrah. And the mushrikeen, when they found out, they're like, no way, we cannot let them enter at all. So they stopped the Muslims from entering. And after much back and forth, it was decided that the Muslims don't come this year for Umrah, but rather they come the following year. And that is when the Treaty of Hudaybiyah was signed. Now the Muslims were in their ihram. And they had their sacrificial animals. You think that the mushrikeen would let their animals come into the haram? If they didn't let Muslims come in, would you think they would let their animals come in? Never. So what should they have done? What did they do? Sacrifice wherever a person can. Okay? So mahil, ideally, what is it? The haram. But if that's not possible, then wherever a person is. So once the animal is slaughtered, then a person can trim the hair, and then he's officially out of the state of ihram. Officially his Hajj Umrah is discontinued. Another situation, a person started off, and whoever was among you, maridan, ill, mim ra dad. He was extremely sick, extremely ill. Or bihi, with him, meaning he had adhan, an injury, some harm, some ailment, min ra'sihi, in his head. Adhan is from the root letters hamza daliya, and adha is any kind of ailment, any kind of pain, harm, suffering that a person experiences, that is basically experienced by a living being. So for example, if you cut a piece of wood, you don't say that you're hurting the wood. Likewise, if you're chopping a carrot, it doesn't mean that the carrot is screaming. Okay? But if you cut up an animal, then yes, he will suffer, he will feel the pain. Likewise, if a human being, again, he will suffer the pain. Okay? So adha, the person has some adha where min ra'sihi, in his head. Let's say the person had a severe head injury. He was in his Hajj or doing his Umrah and he fell and he hurt his head really bad, and the doctors have to, let's say, stitch up the head or have to do some kind of procedure, and that requires that the hair has to be shaved off. You understand? This is another situation. A person is doing Hajj, he became extremely ill, or his hair has to be cut. His hair has to be trimmed. Now in that case, can he do that? He's at Hajj, he's at Umrah. Can he do that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَفِدْيَةٌ, then some fidya. Then yes, our religion is very practical. If a person is at the verge of dying, he's bleeding, then you can't say, no, he's at Hajj, so you can't cut the hair. No, you will cut the hair. You have to do that. But the person has to do something else for the violation that was done. And what is it that he has to do? فَفِدْيَةٌ, then he has to give a fidya. Fidya, fadaliya, ransom. What is that ransom? Min siyam, of fasting, aw sadaqatin, or charity, aw nusuk, or sacrifice. So he has three options of fidya. He can either fast. How many fasts? From hadith we learned 3 days. Aw sadaqa, or he can give sadaqah. How much sadaqah? That he has to feed 6 needy people. Aw nusuk, or a sacrifice, a slaughter. Nusuk, nun, sin, kaf, manasik. Right? Arina manasikana. Nusuk is sacrifice. So that person has the option to choose from these 3. He can either fast for 3 days, he can either feed 6 needy people, or he can slaughter an animal. And which animal? That has to be either a sheep or a goat, meaning a smaller animal, not a big one, not a camel or a cow, but rather a smaller one. So this is the second situation, which is that a person was doing Hajj, everything was fine, but he became extremely ill. He cannot continue the Hajj anymore. Okay? Or the hair has to be trimmed. So what's going to happen? He should cut the hair, he will come out of Ihram, he will cancel his Hajj, his Umrah, but he has to give the fidya in order to make up for what was done. The first case was, a person cannot continue for Hajj at all. Okay? But this case, the second one, is specific to illness. Okay? This is specific to illness, and also such a situation in which the hair has to be cut. Okay? In which the hair has to be cut. So, in that situation, this is what a person will do. فَإِذَا أَمِنْتُمْ, normal circumstances. فَإِذَا, so when, أَمِنْتُمْ, you all are secure. Hamza, Mim, Noon, Aman. Everything is fine, there's security, there's peace everywhere, there's nothing to prevent you, there's nothing to cause any trouble. You can easily go for Hajj, you can complete it, you can complete your Umrah. Then, فَمَنْ تَمَتَّعَ, then whoever was تَمَتَّعَ بِالْعُمْرَةِ. Tamatta is from Mim Ta'ain, Mata' benefit, and Tamattu' is to gain benefit, to take benefit, okay, to take advantage. So whoever was taking advantage of doing what? Bil Umrah, of doing Umrah ila al-Hajj, to Hajj. Meaning, he was taking the advantage of performing Umrah with that Hajj as well. Inshallah, we'll tell you the details later in the next lesson. But just a little bit, there's 3 types of Hajj. Okay? It doesn't mean that the rituals will be different, but the requirements are different. 3 types of Hajj. Does anyone know? Does anyone know what they are? Okay. One is Hajj Tamattu'. Hajj Tamattu' is performed by outsiders, meaning people who don't live in the area of Haram, but they live outside. And what they can do is that they can perform Umrah when they arrive, and they will come out of the state of Ihram. And then when the days of Hajj come, then they will put on the Ihram again, and they will perform the Hajj. So basically, 1 trip, 1 journey, 2 Ihram, and 2 rituals. Okay? 1 trip, you travel from Canada once to Saudi, and you go for, let's say, 15 days. You get there, for example, 3 days before Hajj. So you get there with your Ihram, you do Umrah. After your Umrah, after 1 day, you're out of the state of Ihram. For 2 days, you're free, you're happy, you're praying in the Haram, everything's normal, you can get a haircut, you can cut your nails easily. But when the time for Hajj comes, then what will you do? You will put on the Ihram again. So you took advantage of performing Umrah on 1 trip. You understand? So this is Hajj Tamattu'. Another type of Hajj is Hajj Qiran. Qiran is from Qarn, to join. And that is that a person joins Umrah and Hajj in 1 Ihram. 1 Ihram, but Umrah and Hajj. The third type is Hajj Ifrad. And what is that? Only Hajj. 1 Ihram, but only 1 Hajj, no Umrah. Okay? No Umrah. So these are the 3 types of Hajj. Over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning, which one? Hajj Tamattu'. That whoever is taking advantage of performing Umrah until the time of Hajj, meaning until he enters the Ihram of Hajj, then فَمَسْتَيْسَرَ, then فَمَا, then whatever, istaysara, it was easily available, min al-hadi, of the sacrificial animal. What does this mean? This means that the one who is performing Hajj Tamattu', he has to also offer a sacrificial animal. This does not mean that the sacrificial animal is some kind of fidya. No. This is an obligation that is imposed on him. Because he is taking advantage of doing Umrah and Hajj. Right? So he has to be more grateful to Allah. And this is why he has to offer a sacrificial animal. Okay? So فَمَسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدِي. He has to offer a sacrificial animal. This is a requirement from him, because he is performing this kind of Hajj. And what's the reason behind that? What's the reason that I told you? What's the reason? Why does he have to offer the animal and others don't? Because he has the opportunity to do more, to gain more. So when he's doing more, he has to be more grateful. So this teaches a very important lesson in life, that whenever Allah gives us the ability to do extra that other people are not able to for whatever reason, then what does it mean? We have to be even more grateful. فَمَسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدِي. But let's say a person made the intention of Hajj Tamattu', he does Umrah and he's doing Hajj, but let's say when it comes time to buy an animal to slaughter it, he cannot afford. He cannot afford it. He made the intention already, but when it comes to actually slaughtering the animal, he realizes he doesn't have that much money anymore. Something happened. Perhaps he lost his wallet. It happens at Hajj, right? He lost his wallet, and there's no way that he can get money from home before the time of Hajj ends. So what should he do then? Should he go on begging people, asking them for money? No. Allah says, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ. So whoever does not find, waw, jim, dal, meaning whoever cannot afford, then what should he do? فَصِيَامُ, then fasting, he has to fast. How many fasts? ثَلَاثَةِ أَيَّامٍ, 3 days. Ayyam, plural of yawm. Then he has to fast for 3 days. Fil Hajj, in Hajj, meaning in the months of Hajj. Okay? He has to make those fasts in that season of Hajj. Not that next year he thinks, okay, yeah, I'm supposed to make up those 3 fasts, so I'll make them up now. No. In that given time. Fil Hajj. He should fast 3 days during the days of Hajj, during the months of Hajj. And this can be done that he can fast 3 days before Hajj. Okay, if he knows that he won't have that much money. Or he can fast after the 13th. Okay, so he can fast 3 days either before Hajj, or he can fast 3 days after Hajj. Because for the Hujjaj, they don't fast on the day of Arafah. Okay, they're not allowed to do that. Nor can he fast on the day of slaughter, Yawm al-Nahr. So there are certain rules. So 3 fasts in the days of Hajj, was sab'ah, and 7 fasts إِذَا رَجَعْتُمْ, when you return, meaning when you go back home. So in total, how many fasts? In total, how many? 10. 3 over there, and 7 on going back home. Tilka, that is, asharatun, 10, kamilah, complete. Meaning, it has to be 10 complete fasts. A person cannot fast only 9 or 8 or 7. No, it has to be 10. ذَلِكَ, this rule is for who? Liman, for the one who, lam yakun, he is not, ahluhu, his family, hadiri. Hadiri. Hadiri is actually hadirina. Okay, hadirina. But the noon has been dropped because hadirina is being connected with al-Masjid al-Haram. And hadirin is a plural of hadir, from the root letters ha, dad, ra. What does hadara mean? It hadara Ya'qub al-Maut. Hadara, to be present. Right? So hadir is one who is present. And it means a resident of a place. Someone who lives in a particular place. He's a resident of a place. So this rule of what? Hajj tamattu'. And if a person cannot find the sacrificial animal, then fasting, a total of 10 fasts. This rule is for who? For the one whose family does not live, is not a resident of Al-Masjid al-Haram. Meaning Hajj tamattu' will be performed by who? Those who don't live in the area of Haram. Those who don't live in Makkah. Those who live in Makkah, they will do other Hajj. They will not do Hajj tamattu'. Hajj tamattu' is for who? Those who live outside of Makkah. Because think about it. How can you make up 7 fasts when you go back home? If your home is the Haram, you can't do that. Right? وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ, and fear Allah. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ, and know that indeed Allah is severe in retribution. Iqab is from the root letters Ayn, Qaf, Ba. And iqab is punishment. And it's from aqib. Aqib is heel. So it follows. Meaning when a person does something wrong, the punishment follows. It doesn't leave him. It comes against him. So وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. Why is this said over here? That these are the rules of Hajj that you have to strictly observe. If you're not able to do one thing, then you have to make up from the other way that Allah has told you about. You cannot take these matters lightly. This is not something that is very small, very insignificant. No, this is something that's very major. Because we learned earlier that وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةِ, for who? For who? Lillah. And when it's the right of Allah, then it has to be performed properly with the fear of Allah. And a person must never take this matter lightly, because you were doing Hajj for Allah, and if you don't do it properly, He knows. And if you fall short in your duty, then He will punish. Let's listen to the recitation.
وَأَتِمُّوا الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ فإن أحصرتم فما استيسر من الهدي ولا تحلقوا رؤوسكم حتى يبلغ الهدي محله فمن كان منكم مريضا أو به أذى من رأسه ففدية من صيام أو صدقة أو نسك فإذا أمنتم فمن تمتع بالعمرة إلى الحج فما استيسر من الهدي فمن لم يجد فصيام 3 أيام في الحج و7 إذا رجعتم تلك 10 كاملة ذلك لمن لم يكن أهله حاضر المسجد الحرام واتقوا الله واعلموا أن الله شديد العقاب.
It's a very long ayah, but you can see that there are many things that are mentioned in it. I'll quickly read through it so all that we studied can come together, can be consolidated in your minds, because it's a little technical, so it's important that we understand this properly. So if you just look at the Arabic, I'm only going to read the Arabic, okay? I'm not going to go into the translation. وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. Complete the Hajj and Umrah for who? For Allah. But if a person is not able to, فَإِنْ أُحْصِرْتُمْ, then what should he do? فَمَا اسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدِي. Offer sacrifice, whatever is available. But فَمَا اسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدِي. وَلَا تَحْلِقُوا رُؤُوسَكُمْ حَتَّى يَبْلُغَ الْهَدِيُ مَحِلَّهُ. Another thing that you have to do is shave your head, trim your hair. But you cannot do that until the animal is actually slaughtered. Another scenario. A person is sick, and because of that sickness, the hair has to be cut, or he cannot continue. فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ بِهِ أَذًى مِنْ رَأْسِهِ. Then what should he do? فَفِدْيَةٌ مِنْ صِيَامٍ أَوْ صَدَقَةٍ أَوْ نُسُكٍ. He should come out of the state of ihram, he's going to discontinue his hajj, and then he has the choice from one of these 3 options. What are they? صِيَام أَوْ صَدَقَةٍ أَوْ نُسُكٍ. Another situation. فَإِذَا أَمِنْتُمْ. Normal circumstances, there is no problems, nothing is preventing a person from continuing his hajj, but he is doing hajj tamattu'. فَمَنْ تَمَتَّعَ بِالْعُمْرَةِ إِلَى الْحَجِّ. Then it is his obligation that he has to فَمَا اسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدِي. He has to offer a sacrificial animal. But if he cannot afford, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ, then فَصِيَامُ 3 أَيَّامٍ. Then he has to fast 3 days, fil hajj, in the days of hajj, وَسَبْعَ, and 7 fasts, إِذَا رَجَعْتُمْ, on going back home. But this rule is for who? Is for who? تِلْكَ عَشْرَةٌ كَامِلَةٌ, 10 fasts, but this rule is for who? ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ أَهْلُهُ حَاضِرِ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. This is for the one who is not a resident of the haram, but rather he lives outside. And Allah warns us, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. Fear Allah and know that Allah is severe in retribution. In other words, take the matters of hajj very, very seriously. Is anybody going for hajj this year? Does anyone know? Inshallah. Does anyone know of anyone who's going for hajj? Right? So before going for hajj, a person must educate himself about what he is going into. Because many times it happens that people are there and they're just asking each other, so what are we supposed to do next? What are we supposed to do next? And in just trying to figure out what they're supposed to do, they lose the spirit of hajj completely. They cannot focus on ibadah. So all of these rules, Allah has told us why. So that we can focus on ibadah. Okay. Inshallah, we'll conclude over here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you all? So subhanallah, it's like math, right? Doing the math. Aren't we surprised how clearly everything is mentioned? Like our deen is complete. It's not like, oh, so what now this happened, so what now this happened. But everything is subhanallah mentioned. If this is the case, then this. If this is the case, then this. And so clearly. Nothing is left in doubt. So let's see how much we try to understand today. It's pure in our mind, in brains right now. Inshallah, when you go over it again, it will be more fixed. And try to give some time, spend some time, so that at least we are aware now of what the condition is. It's not like that we are lost about the rituals and how important this is for us to know as part of our deen. We, subhanallah, live our whole lives being Muslims, and I feel it is so unfortunate that most of us do not even get the opportunity to understand what our manual is saying, right? Subhanallah. Yes, Hanan, just let's go over the recap real quick, and then, yeah, definitely you can mail. If not, maybe mostly they will get answered, or we can discuss if we have time. But let's see, inshallah, we'll go over the recap soon. And most of them, they get answered over the recap or over the lessons. If not, then you can definitely mail, inshallah, or write in the group. And we can see how we can address them, inshallah. So let's begin the recap. Ready? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Okay. So Surah Al-Baqarah, lesson 26, 189 to 96. I will try not to read the whole ayah. You know, the ayat are so long, mashallah. So we'll try to be conscious of our time and try to finish. And assuming that you all know the ayat, mashallah, or you read it. So like answers are there. Okay, so I have tried to highlight these things. Yes, alunaka anil ahillati. So in our religion, blank is used as a means of telling time throughout the year. Barakallah fikum, mashallah, tabarakallah, excellent, bright students, alhamdulillah. So, alhamdulillah. In our, so in this ayah, same 179, what is true piety? Allah says, وَلَيْسَ الْبِرُّ وَلَكِنْ بِرُّ. So walakin, but it is al-bir, the true piety is in which? Yes, it is in holding on to living by what Allah SWT has ordained us to. Alhamdulillah. وَقَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. What are the three things that we learn from this verse? So if you, this is one type of assignment answer. If you know these, and if you just say 1, 2, 3, just highlight, or you just, quote as is the Arabic. If it says Arabic, you can just cut and paste, or you can write, or you can, if it says answers needed in English, then you write in English. So from the ayah, you should always answer. So 1 is good. So let's take from Mubin first. She said, yes, so the first word should be qatilu, right? So you fight. Then how you fight? Then you gave all those three options. So believers should fight in the way of Allah. Then how they should fight? They should fight those who fight. Rest all is correct. Mubin, Amatullah and all. But you have to have all together. And then when you're fighting, wala ta'tadu. You do not commit any transgression. Yes. Barakallahu fikum, alhamdulillah. Yes, so that will come under transgression. So three things from the ayah, if we say, we don't even have to give so much details, like all these examples, unless they ask you examples, what comes under ta'tadu. Then you explain your answers in detail. But when the question is, what are the three? Then you just answer those three. Number 1, qatilu fi sabilillah. Number 2, you fight those who fight against you. Allazina yuqatilunakum. 3, la ta'tadu, do not transgress. Okay, so those will then if they're asking you briefly to describe what does ta'tadu mean, then you give all those details which you have given. Okay, so learn to answer to the points that gives assures your points right away. So fitna in here, what does fitna here mean? Well, fitnatu ashaddu min al-qatl. Allah says the fitna is ashaddu, it's more severe than the qatl. Religious persecution, yeah. So fitna means religious persecution, means that because of your religion you're persecuted. So that's why Allah SWT is saying that that's why you fight till there's no there's no fear of practicing your religion. So that's what it is. Okay. فَإِنِ انْتَهَوْا انْتَهَوْا. What is the root word here? That day we asked each other, right? And we got it clarified. Yes. Barakallahu feekum Rizwana. So it is noon ha ya, and from nahi. Always remember nahi anil munkar. Amar bil maruf wa nahi anil munkar. So nahi means no, to stop. So that means intaha. The root word harf illa is the ya. So noon ha ya. Okay, alhamdulillah. So remember that. Sometimes it's wow, sometimes ya. But in this case, the harf illa ones, the root words, you just have to memorize them. You just have to know them. You cannot try them. Okay, know that. Okay, so in this ayah 194, Bishahril Haram, we just went over today. What are the 4 sacred months? Wow, barakallahu fiki. So she got it in order. Qada, Zulqada, Zulhijjah, Muharram, and Rajab. Good, mashallah. Barakallahu fiki, yes. Alhamdulillah. Excellent. Let's move on. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us to fight in defense during the sacred months? So the question is like, in the sacred months, first of all, we're not allowed to fight, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives an exception. You can fight in defense. Ash-shahrul harami bish-shahrun. Yes, for qisas. So it means to, why do you do qisas? To protect the sanctity of the sacred months. You are only allowed to fight in defense. That's what it means, okay? So first, in these months, you're not allowed to fight, but only in the case of qisas, you're allowed to fight to protect the sanctity of the sacred months, and only for qisas. So it's like both ways, only for qisas and only to protect this. Why? Only allowed to fight in defense to protect the sanctity of the sacred months. Yes, for qisas, but it is like generally you're not allowed to fight. Only in this month you're only allowed to fight in retribution, like where you're justified. Generally, we're not allowed to fight. Okay, so وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. What does spending in the way of Allah mean? $195. وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. All those, yes, the sister Taimiyyah gave us examples, right? So all those things will come under it. Spending for the application of the deen, in defense for the deen, in promotion of the deen, all that we spend time, energy, talent, some CDs we gave for promotion of the deen, people learn about the deen, all those things. So all those come under spending in the way of Allah. So in this ayah, same ayah 195, going for Hajj. Okay, so Allah subhanahu inna Allah. In this will anfiqu fi sabilillahi wa la tulqu bi aydikum illa tahluqa wa ahsinu inna Allah yuhibbul muhsinin. In this, generally, this is the ayah referring to, but in this, what is going for Hajj a part of? Which part it is? Is it the application of the deen? Is it promotion of the deen? Is it defense of the deen? Or is it all? Very good, Sarah. That's one. All of you, those who wrote one, barakallahu fikum. So it's application, because those are the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us 5 pillars of Islam, and that is one of the pillars of Islam. We are Muslims when we apply these pillars. Alhamdulillah. So now the ayah looks big, but the answer is small. So what is it to intend to go to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at a particular time to perform? Yes, Hajj, barakallahu fikum. So this is the answer, Al-Hajj. So you just write Al-Hajj. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so now come the legal answers. Try to write properly. So just look at the scenarios. What has to be done to come out of ihram if a person is restricted? Okay, restricted before going to the Hajj, on the way for Hajj. He's not yet there. For any reason, he's restricted, right? We just learned that. Ayah 196. So what he has to do to come out of ihram? Give everything, like say everything, you know, alternatives, like give all the alternatives. Okay, you're giving all one by one. Feeding, fasting, yes. So that's how you should do it. Sarah Marshall is getting everything. So it is, it's first you sacrifice an animal. This is the first one. Okay, so Istaysara min hadil, which one it is? Final sirtum. No, this one. Fama Taysara min al hadiya from Lam Yajid. This is the first one where you're not allowed for some reasons to enter Hajj. Like you already are on the way to the Hajj, but you're not even started Hajj. So then whatever animal you are going to do, or you have the animal, you sacrifice that animal, and then you shave your, the person shaves his head after sacrificing. That comes to the second question, which is scenario number 2. A person is on Hajj. He's in between the Hajj rituals and he's sick now, right? One is either he's very sick or either he requires to shave his head before his rituals for some reason. So what should he do now? Okay, Abdullah, I'll check. Yeah, you're right. So 3 options are if he's sick, not for restricted, yes. So these are the 3 things. So fast for 3 days. Either you fast for 3 days or you feed 3 needy people and you sacrifice whatever animal, sheep or goat you get, right? That is for the next one, the third case. Hanan, I think we are all getting confused. So just get one by one. The first one was when you are not even there for Hajj. You intended for Hajj, but you couldn't go there, couldn't reach. So then you sacrifice an animal, you shave the head after sacrificing the animal. That's it. Next, you are on Hajj, you are in between the rituals. Okay, so make it clear. And for some reason you have some illness in the head or you are extremely sick. Then what do you do? Okay, so if you go the ayah part by part, like if you see the slides, then you'll get it, inshallah. So then you fast for 3 days, or you then feed, you give fidya, you feed 6 needy people, or you sacrifice a sheep or a goat. That's what she said. Would you sacrifice a camel or all those things? And then it was just whatever you get, whatever animal you get. Okay. So now the last one case 3 scenario is a person is doing Hajj tamattu. You know what is tamattu? It's from mata. It's from like having ease while doing it. So in that, he's having 2 different ihrams. He's doing Hajj, Umrah and Hajj, right? And then he does not have money for the animal, sacrificial animal. So what should he do now? So now comes that part which who wrote. Some of you wrote, right? This one, the sadaqah one, the 3 things which Sarah wrote in the beginning. Fast for 3 days during the days of Hajj. When you return home, fast for 7 days, and then that completes Ashratu Kamilatun, right? You get it now? So this one it was Fasiyamu Salasata Ayyamin fil Hajji, in the days of the Hajj. Wasabatin idha rajatum. So when you return 7, the last line which I was showing you. Tilka Ashratu Kamilatun. So this is the answer for the last one. Okay, I'll show you the slides again. And then what is the plural for ayyam? Yom. Yom, yes. Days of fasting total, right? So 3 during the days of Hajj, 7 after returning, and 10 in total, yes. Okay. So alhamdulillah, yeah. So that's good for today. I'll show you the slides real quick just now. If you kind of skipped, let me. So this was it, right? This one for fidyatum min. So fidya was, this is for wala tahliqu rusakum hatta yablagul hadya mahillahu. So this is if he is sick, maridan, or there's a hurt in his head. So either he's sick or his heart has something, then he has to give fidya, and that fidya was 3 types. So that was either you fast, or you give sadaqah, or you sacrifice, right? So that one was the one you were saying for this, correct? Yeah, I think you were right. And then this was the last who does not find the hadiyah, the sacrificial animal, then he has to fast 3 days there during Hajj and 7 when he returns. So that completes 10 in total. Correct? Yeah. So these slides, once you go over, then hopefully they should be clear. If a person has to shave his head for some reason, what's the ransom? What's the fidya? It's 3 days fasting, sadaqah for 6 needy people, and sacrifice nusuk, sacrifice a goat. So that was what was in that slide which said, what is it when you're sick or you have to shave the head? You get it now? All right, so I think we can stop here for the recap and begin our new lesson today, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan kaseera. Was your question answered in between, or you have some other questions? Would you like to email them, or you would like to say them? Was it Birjis? Who was it? Hanan? Okay, Hanan, no problem. Barakallah fiki. Inshallah, we can stop here for the recap, and Sister Sabah can take the. Should we continue, Sabah, or should we take a break? Continue. Okay, inshallah, we'll do translation and then we'll go. Okay, Jazakumullah khairan kaseera. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So open up your translations, inshallah. Let's do lesson 27, 197 to 203, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan kaseera.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما. Lesson number 27, Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 197 to 203. Translation: Al-Hajj, the Hajj, the pilgrimage. Ashhurun is in months, ma'lumatun, one's known. Faman, so whoever, farada, he made obligatory, fihinna, in them, al-hajja, the Hajj, fala, so not, rafatha, any sexual conduct, wala, and nor, fusuqa, any disobedience, wala, and nor, jidala, any dispute, any argument, fi, in, al-hajj, the Hajj. Wama, and whatever, taf'alu, you all do, min, from, khairin, any good, ya'lamhu, he knows it, Allahu, Allah. وَتَزَوَّدُوا, and you all take provision. فَإِنَّ, so indeed, خَيْرَ, best, الزَّادِ, the provision, التَّقْوَى, is the taqwa. وَاتَّقُونِ, and you all fear me, Ya, O, uli, possessors, al-albab, of the intellect. Laysa, it is not, alaykum, upon you, junahun, any sin, and that, tabtaghu, you all seek, fadlan, bounty, grace, min, from, rabbikum, your Rabb. فَإِذَا, so when, afattum, you all descended, you all emerged, min, from, arafatin, arafat. فَاذْكُرُوا, then you all remember, Allah, Allah, inda, near, al-mash'ar, the symbol, the landmark, al-haram, the sacred. وَاذْكُرُوهُ, and you all remember him, kama, just as, or because,
Hadakum, he guided you. Wa in, and indeed, kuntum, you were, min, from, qablihi, before it, lamin, surely from, ad-dallin, those who are astray, or those who are ignorant. Summa, then, afidu, you all depart, you all return, min, from, haisu, where, afada, he departed, and nasu, the people. Wastaghfiru, and you all seek forgiveness, Allah, Allah. Inna, indeed, Allah, Allah, Ghafurun, most forgiving, Rahimun, always all merciful. فَإِذَا, so when, قَضَيْتُمْ, you all completed, manasikakum, your worship rites, your rituals, فَاذْكُرُوا, then you all remember, Allah, Allah, كَذِكْرِكُمْ, like your remembrance, abaikum, of your forefathers, or ashadda, more intense, dhikra, in remembering. Famin, so from, An-nas, the people, man who yaqulu, he says, Rabbana, O our Rabb, Atina, you grant us, you give us, fi, in ad-dunya, the world, wama, and not, lahu, for him, fi, in al-akhirah, the hereafter, min, from, khalaqin, any share. Wa minhum, and from them, man who yaqulu, he says, Rabbana, O our Rabb, Atina, you give us, fi, in ad-dunya, the world, hasanatan, good, wa fi, and in al-akhirah, the hereafter, hasanatan, good, wa, and qina, you save us, adaba, punishment, and now of the fire. Ulaika, those, lahum, for them, nasibun, a portion, mimma, from what, kasabu, they earned. Wallahu, and Allah, sari'u, swift, al-hisab, in the reckoning, in the account taking. Wadkuru, and you all remember, Allah, Allah, fi, in ayyamin, days, ma'dudat, ones numbered, ones appointed. Faman, then whoever, ta'ajjala, he hastened, he hurried, fi, in yawmaini, 2 days, fala, then not, isma, any sin, alayhi, upon him. Waman, and whoever, ta'akhara, he delayed, fala, so not, isma, any sin, alayhi, upon him. Liman, for who, ittaqa, he adopted taqwa, he feared Allah. Wattaqu, and you all fear, Allah, Allah. Wa'lamu, and you all know, annakum, that indeed you, ilayhi, towards him, tuhsharun, you all will be gathered. Let's listen to the recitation.
الحج أشهر معلومات فمن فرض فيهن الحج فلا رفث ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج وما تفعلوا من خير يعلمه الله وتزودوا فإن خير الزاد التقوى واتقون يا أولي الألباب ليس عليكم جناح أن تبتغوا فضلا من ربكم فإذا أفضتم من عرفات فاذكروا الله عند المشعر الحرام واذكروه كما هداكم وإن كنتم من قبله لمن الضالين ثم أفيضوا من حيث أفاض الناس واستغفروا الله إن الله غفور رحيم فإذا قضيتم مناسككم فاذكروا الله كذكركم آباءكم أو أشد ذكرا فمن الناس من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا وما له في الآخرة من خلاق ومنهم من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار أولئك لهم نصيب مما كسبوا والله سريع الحساب واذكروا الله في أيام معدودات فمن تعجل في يومين فلا إثم عليه ومن تأخر فلا إثم عليه لمن اتقى واتقوا الله واعلموا أنكم إليه تحشرون
Okay, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We'll take our break, inshallah, now. All right. You can quickly take a 15 minutes break. Not quickly, inshallah. Take a 15 minutes break, stretch, change and come, and then inshallah we'll start our tafseer. Okay, inshallah. Sounds good. Jazakumullah khairan kaseera. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahil hamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahil hamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahil hamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahil hamd.
نور في الظلمات أنسي في خلواتي سعدي وهنائي القرآن حياتي نور ملأ القلب ففاض بحب كتاب الله أشرق دربي بالقرآن فشكرا يا رباه شكرا يا رباه يمحو عتم الليل المظلم يروي ظمأ الروح يجعلنا من أهل الله يطيب به المجروح هو نبراس حياة يرشدنا بهداه ملأ القلب ففاض بحب كتاب الله أشرق دربي بالقرآن فشكرا يا رباه شكرا يا رباه يا ربي فكاف من أنشأ للتحفيظ صروح هي دور للنور وفيها عطر الطهر يفوح هيا يا من تاه فالقرآن نجاه ملأ القلب ففاض بحب كتاب الله أشرق قلبي بالقرآن فشكرا يا رباه. شكرا يا رباه. اليوم نكرم من حفظوا حفل ثم نروح، لكن الكل لدرجات في الجنات طموح. غايتنا الرحمن نتطلع لرضاه. القلب ففاض بحب كتاب الله، أشرق دربي بالقرآن فشكرا يا رباه. شكرا يا رباه. شكرا يا رباه.
الله الله يا ربي يا الله، الله يا ربي يا الله.
لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، محمد رسول الله، محمد رسول الله. أرجو رضاك يا الله، أنت الرحيم يا الله، هبني عطاك يا الله، أنت الكريم منك العطاء يا الله، أنت العظيم يا فيك الرجاء يا الله، أنت الحليم.
الرحمن الستار ملك الملك الغفار الوهاب المنان المتعال.
الرحمن الستار ملك الملك الغفار الوهاب المنان المتعال.
الله الله يا ربي يا الله، الله يا ربي يا
الله. لك يا إلهي وجهتي في الحزن أو في الفرحة، ما ثم لي في شدتي إلا كإن جار الزمان.
تعطي النوال وتكرم وبرغم ذنبي ترحم، ولك الثناء الأعظم يا واهب المنن الحسان.
ألقيت في القلب الآمان وزرعت في الأم الحنان، وحفظتنا طول الزمان وهديتنا سبل الجنان.
لك كل حمد في الورى عد الرمال وأكثر، ما لاح بدر أو سار دوما على مر الزمان.
لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، محمد رسول الله، محمد رسول الله. أرجو رضاك يا أنت الرحيم، هبني عطاك يا أنت الكريم، منك العطاء يا أنت العظيم، فيك الرجاء يا أنت الحليم.
الرحمن الستار ملك الملك الغفار الوهاب المنان المتعال.
الرحمن الستار ملك الملك الغفار الوهاب المنان المتعال.
الله الله يا ربي يا الله، الله يا ربي يا
الله. يا غافر الذنب العظيم، يا فارج الكرب العميم، يا خالقي أنت الرحيم، ارحم بفضلك ذلتي.
في كل آن نعمة لك في العباد ومنة، وبكل شيء آيات دلت عليك بحكمتي.
رحماك يا رب العباد ورضاك قصدي والمراد، يا عدتي يوم المعاد اقبل إلهي توبتي.
بهداك قد نلت المنى، نلت السعادة والهنا، بك فرحتي يا ذا الغنى، ورضاك عني غايتي.
يا الله
ملك الملك الغفار الوهاب المنان المتعال.
لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله.
ذاتي قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي، قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي. آيات الله حمتني غمرتني بالبركات، تحفظني من همزات الشيطان ومن زلاتي. آيات الله حمتني غمرتني بالبركات، تحفظني من همزات الشيطان ومن زلاتي. قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي، قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي. إن القرآن لنور يتفجر في جنباتي، يرفعني عند مليك الخلق لأعلى الدرجات. إن القرآن لنور يتفجر في جنباتي، يرفعني عند مليك الخلق لأعلى الدرجات. قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي، قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي. إن القرآن أنيس لفؤادي في أزماتي، يمنحني الصبر على ما قد ألقى من عثراتي. إن القرآن أنيس لفؤادي في أزماتي، يمنحني الصبر على ما قد ألقى من عثراتي. قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي، قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي. معجزة خالدة ما أعظمها من كلماتي، من الرحمن علينا بكتاب من رحماتي. معجزة خالدة ما أعظمها من كلماتي، من الرحمن علينا بكتاب من رحماتي. قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي، قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي، قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري. يا حامل القرآن قد خصك الرحمن بالفضل والتيجان، والروح والريحان يا حامل القرآن قد خصك الرحمن بالفضل والتيجان والروح والريحان يا دائم الترتيل للذكر والتنزيل بشراك يوم رحيل ستفوز بالغفران يا قارئ الآيات في الجمع والخلوات تزهو بك السماوات وتنتشي الأكوان يا حامل القرآن يا حامل القرآن يا حامل القرآن قد خصك الرحمن بالفضل والتيجان والروح والريحان يا حامل القرآن قد خصك الرحمن بالفضل والتيجان والروح والريحان يا دائم الترتيل للذكر والتنزيل بشراك يوم رحيل ستفوز بالغفران يا قارئ الآيات في الجمع والخلوات تزهو بك السماوات وتنتشي الأكوان يا حامل القرآن يا حامل القرآن يا حامل القرآن.
الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. So, how many pillars of Islam are there? How many? 5. By the way, what are pillars of Islam? What does it mean by this term? Arkanul Islam, pillars. What's the role of pillars in a building? They're the foundation of a structure. If those pillars are not there, then that structure cannot stand. Correct? And sometimes, if you remove even one pillar, then that will cause the structure to collapse. You know, for example, if anybody has had their basement made, and then you have this awkward, weird pillar right in the center, and you're like, what's the purpose of this pillar? Can't you just remove that? They're like, no, we can't remove that. If we remove that, the house is going to fall. It's only one pillar. But on that, the entire house is standing. So likewise, there are certain actions, 5 in particular, that a person has to do so that his Islam is valid, so that his Islam is acceptable. If he leaves even one, then his Islam is not acceptable. So what are the pillars of Islam? First of all, shahada, declaration. A person has to believe in his heart and he has to declare that yes, I believe, I testify that there is no God worthy of worship but Allah, and that Muhammad ﷺ is his messenger. Second pillar, salat. A person has to pray. Third pillar, zakah. A person has to give the mandatory charity given on specific kind of wealth at a specific time, and it is of specific amount as well. And then fourth, fasting in the month of Ramadan. And fifth is Hajj. So inshallah today we're going to learn about Hajj. Now in Surah Al-Baqarah we have learned about so many of the pillars. Right at the beginning we learned الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. Right? Likewise we have learned about وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Right? أَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. Zakat has been mentioned directly as well as indirectly. Then we also learned about fasting. And now we're learning about Hajj. So we see that Surah Al-Baqarah is a very comprehensive surah. That in it, all of the pillars are mentioned. Some in a lot of detail and others in not that much detail, but they're all mentioned. Now Hajj is an act of worship that is very different from other acts of worship, very unique. In that a person has to physically, financially, mentally devote himself to this act of worship. A person has to take time out. He has to actually travel to go for Hajj. Even if he's living in Makkah, still he has to take time out to go to Mina, to go to Arafat, to go to Muzdalifah. You can't do Hajj while you are at work. You can't do Hajj while you are at home. Can you fast while you're at work? Of course you can. Can you fast when you're at home? Yes, you can. You can pray Salah as well. But Hajj, you have to cut down everything. You have to stop everything in your life and you have to go for Hajj. And Hajj is actually the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is something that we are obligated to do, and it is the right of Allah. In the Quran we learn that وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ. That it is the right of Allah that people must perform the Hajj of the house. It is the right of Allah. And people, when they perform Hajj, they should do it for whose sake? For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the end of the first juz, we learned that Ibrahim a.s., when he constructed the Kaaba, he also made a dua. And what was that dua? وَأَرِنَا مَنَاسِكَنَا. And oh Allah, show us our ways of worship. Teach us how we're supposed to worship you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught him how he was to worship Allah. And all of those teachings was what? How to perform Hajj as well. And Ibrahim a.s. was also commanded, we learn in Surah Al-Hajj, ayah number 27, that Ibrahim a.s. was commanded, وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ يَأْتِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍّ عَمِيقٍ. And proclaim to the people the Hajj, meaning call them to Hajj. Make the announcement for Hajj. And the people will come to you on foot and on every lean camel, and they will come from every distant pass. And this is true. If you think about it, at Hajj, all sorts of people come. People who are very well off and people who are not too well off. People who will take literally a day to come, others will take a few hours to come, and others will take weeks to come. People take different means, different ways to get there. But people come to perform Hajj from every part of the world. This is why sometimes when you're there, you're wondering what language people are speaking. You have no idea. Your ears have never heard those sounds, those words. You wonder what kind of clothes they're wearing, which country they're coming from, what food they're eating. All sorts of people come for Hajj. There is no other place in this entire world where you will see such variety in people, except for at the time and place of Hajj. And we see that performing the Hajj is actually an obligation on every believer who is capable of performing Hajj. In a hadith we learned that the Prophet ﷺ said, hasten going to Hajj, meaning perform the duty quickly, don't delay it. As soon as you are able to go for Hajj, then go. Why? Because none of you knows what will happen in the future. No person knows what will happen in the future. You could get seriously ill, you could have certain obligations because of which even if you want to go, you're not able to go. Because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. Anything could happen that could prevent you from going. And what is it that you don't delay in life? Whatever is very important to you. So, this is the right of Allah. And if Allah is important to a person, then he will not delay in performing Hajj. Another hadith tells us that whoever dies without performing Hajj, and there was nothing that was preventing him, then let him die as a Jew or a Christian. Meaning it doesn't matter to Allah. Allah doesn't care about his Islam. That this person was able to perform Hajj and he chose not to perform Hajj, then Allah doesn't care about him, in other words. So this is a very serious matter. A very, very serious matter. When it comes to applying to university, applying to a certain school, applying to a particular program, people plan from months in advance. Sometimes people plan years in advance. People, they want to get married, and girls especially, they rush through their school, they rush through their studies, they rush through one thing after the other because they say, my parents want me to get married. So marriage is a priority, everything else fits in place. When Hajj becomes priority, then everything else will also fit in place. But we have to realize that this is something that is very, very important. How many people have actually been for Hajj? Okay, alhamdulillah, few of you have. Do you know what happens at Hajj? What do people do at Hajj? What do people do at Hajj? Talk quickly. Raise your hand. What do people do at Hajj? Yes. Talbiyyah, okay. At Hajj, people say the Talbiyyah, meaning they're constantly saying, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, right? What else do people do at Hajj? Okay, you go to Mina. Where else do you go? You do Tawaf, okay. What else do you do? You go to Arafah. What else do you do? You go to Muzdalifah. What else do you do? You have to throw the stones. That's called Ar-Rami. What else do you have to do? Slaughter the animal as well, meaning offer sacrifice. So you're familiar with these words, are you? Because I'm going to use these words a lot. So I don't want you getting confused. Okay, what was this word and what was that word? Right? So there are certain terms that we must be familiar with. Okay? Now, just imagine you're going for a trip. Okay? And this trip is not such that you're just going to go to your friend's house in another country and you're going to stay there for 2 weeks and then you're bored and then you're like, okay, can't wait till I go back home, and you go back home. And when you come home, people ask you, so what did you do? Nothing, we're just at their house. That's no fun trip, right? So Hajj is such a trip in which you go from place to place. There are certain things that you have to do at certain times, at certain places. The appointments are already booked. The reservations are already made. So you have to be there because it's a very busy trip with a very fixed schedule. When people go for tours or they take packages or whatever, then what happens? You're going from one theme park to the other, to the hotel, to a shopping mall or whatever. So like this Hajj, it's performed in maximum 6 days. So write this down. It's a 6-day long trip. Okay? And there are 4 places that people will visit in these 6 days. What are those 4 places? First of all, Al-Masjid Al-Haram. I'm not talking about what people will do there. I'm just telling you about the places that people will visit in Hajj. So first of all, Al-Masjid Al-Haram. What is Al-Masjid Al-Haram? Where the Kaaba is. Alright? Secondly, Mina. What is Mina? Mina is a place that is close to Masjid al-Haram. It's an open place where people, they spend their days and their nights in the open, in tents. Okay? If you've ever seen images of Hajj, you may have seen these white tents, right? So that is Mina. The third place that people will visit is Arafat. Okay? Arafat is also an open plain, and there are also many mountains over there. You may have seen images of Hajj where people are standing with their arms raised up. Okay? They are standing where? At Arafat. The fourth place that people visit is Muzdalifah. Muzdalifah. Muzdalifah is also another open plain. So how many places do people have to visit? 4. What are they? Masjid al-Haram, Mina, Arafat, Muzdalifah. How many days of Hajj? Maximum? 6 days. So let's begin the trip, how it's going to be done. Okay, the schedule, let's go over it. The first day of Hajj, it is 8th of Dhul Hijjah. Write these dates down. 8th of Dhul Hijjah is the first day of Hajj. And this is known as Yawmut Tarwiyah. Not Talbiyah, Tarwiyah. Yawmut Tarwiyah. And this is the day when the pilgrims, they leave from Makkah and they go to Mina. They go from Makkah to Mina. And at Mina, they spend the day and the night in open tents. Okay? So they spend which day in Mina? The 8th of Dhul Hijjah. Second day of Hajj is the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. And on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, the pilgrims, they leave Mina just after Fajr and they go to Arafat. Where do they go? Arafat. So from Mina, they go to Arafat. And over there, they spend the day. And then after sunset, without praying Maghrib Salah, they go to Muzdalifah. Sunset means what? Now it will be nighttime. And that means the date will change. The next day has begun. Right? So now you are in the third day of Hajj. Okay? So they left Arafat. They spent the entire day in Arafat, the entire second day. After Maghrib, they went where? To Muzdalifah. So they get to Muzdalifah when? In the night. Alright? So in the night, what are they going to do? Stand and pray Qiyam? No, they're going to sleep at Muzdalifah. That's what the Prophet ﷺ did. That was his sunnah. So they spend the night in Muzdalifah. Now, day 3 of Hajj, that is the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. What will people do? They spent the night in Muzdalifah. Now as morning comes in, they will go to Mina. They will go where? Back to Mina. So, quick recap. People go from Masjid al-Haram, from Makkah to Mina. They stay the day and the night over there. The next morning they go to Arafat. Arafat, they spend the day. At night, they go to Muzdalifah, they spend the night over there. In morning, they go back to Mina. Now in Mina, this is day 3 of Hajj, and it's the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. It is known as Yawmun Nahr. It is the day when the pilgrims will slaughter their animals, offer their sacrifice. They will also do the Ramiul Jimar. Okay? And they will also either cut their hair or they will shave it for the men. And then the 3 days which are known as Ayyamut Tashriq, they begin. And what are they? 11th, 12th and 13th of Dhul Hijjah. 11th, 12th and 13th of Dhul Hijjah, and these are known as Ayyamut Tashriq. In these days, where do pilgrims go? Nowhere. They stay in Mina. They only go for the Ramiul Jimar and Tawaf to the Kaaba, and then they come back. Is it complicated? You just have to understand where you're going, from which place to which, at what time, on which day. That's it. So starting from Masjid al-Haram, go to Mina, go to Arafat, go to Muzdalifah, go to Mina. That's it. That's it. How many days? How many days? 6 days. So I want you to read your notes to the person sitting next to you and make sure that you have the order right. You have to have the order right. There are a few things that I didn't mention to you. There are, you can say, the fine details of the trip. Okay? And if I start talking about those things, then it will get a little difficult. It's like if somebody says that we're going to spend the entire day at Niagara Falls, you're like, okay, what are we going to do there? When are we going to go on the boat? And when are we going to go on the helicopter? And when are we going to go the wheel, the Ferris wheel, and on the double-decker bus and whatever? So if you start going into all these details, it's going to get a little complicated. If you want to know about those details, then you may consult your travel agent, right? Your trip planner. So likewise, if you want to go into more details, you may consult any book of Hajj. But inshallah, when you go for Hajj, you will be trained as to how to perform Hajj. So for now, this much understanding is good enough, inshallah, to have an overview of what's happening so that we can understand the verses. Okay? The question is that if the Hajj only takes 6 days, then why do people go for months and weeks and several days? Inshallah, we'll talk about that. Okay, let's begin the verses. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحج أشهر معلومات. Al-Hajj, the Hajj, it is ashhurun. Ashhur is the plural of shahr. And shahr is a month. Sheen, ha, ra. So ashhur, months. Ma'lumat, plural of ma'lumah. Ma'lumah, that whose ilm is known, meaning that thing which is known. From Ain Lam Mim. So ma'lumat, ones that are known. So Hajj is to be performed in months that are well known. In other words, there are a few months that are dedicated for Hajj. What are those months? I mentioned that to you earlier, once upon a time. What are those months? Go back into your notes. What are they? Yes? Muharram, Rajab, Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah. So 4 months of Hajj. Now, somebody just asked a question. Hajj is to be performed in 6 days. And over here we learn, Al-Hajju ashhurun ma'lumat, not weeks but months that are well known. Hajj is to be performed in well-known months. What does it mean by this? Meaning, the entire season of Hajj is these months. Why are months dedicated for an act of worship that takes only a few days? For 2 reasons. First of all, so that people have plenty of time to prepare for the trip, mentally, spiritually, physically. They can actually travel, settle, and then perform the Hajj, and after that they can wrap up everything, and then they can go back home. Alright? The thing is that Hajj is a very spiritual journey. And for you to be spiritually involved in something, you have to be prepared from before. This is the reason why the Prophet ﷺ would not just fast in the month of Ramadan. He would fast before Ramadan as well, in the month of Sha'ban. He would fast before as well. Why? Because to enjoy fasting in the month of Ramadan, you have to be used to fasting from before. Likewise, for you to perform Hajj easily, you have to be in Makkah from before. You have to spend a few days over there from before so that you are in that routine. You can actually enjoy Hajj. You can actually benefit from Hajj. Alright? So this is the first reason. So that people have enough time to prepare physically, mentally. They can take care of the travel, whatever. Secondly, to give importance to this great ritual. When something is very important to you, you don't just dedicate a few minutes to it or a few hours to it. You dedicate days and weeks and months to it. So Hajj is a very important act of worship, and this is the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to dedicate months to it. Now it doesn't mean that a person has to go months in advance, but he may. It doesn't mean that a person has to go weeks in advance, but he may. Again, he doesn't have to go days in advance, but he may. That allowance is there. And if you think about it, if there was only one day when all the pilgrims had to reach Makkah, tell me how difficult would it be? Already, soon after Ramadan, the Hajj flights begin, right? And by the time the days of Hajj come in, it's packed. The Haram is packed. Mina is packed. Now imagine if all of those people were entering the Haram at the same time, arriving at Makkah at the same time. What would happen to those airports? What would happen to those airplanes? It would be very difficult. So this is the reason why several months have been dedicated for this great act of worship. So Al-Hajju Ashhurun Ma'lumat. And the point is that Hajj can only be performed at this time, not at any other time. Ma'lumat, it's well known, it's understood. فَمَنْ فَرَضَ, so whoever made incumbent, whoever imposed on himself, what? The Hajj, when? فِيهِنَّ, in these months. Farada, from the root letters faradat, and what does fard mean? An obligation. So over here, farada, what it means is that he intends to perform the obligation of Hajj, meaning he makes it incumbent on himself that now I am going to perform Hajj. He makes up his mind that this year I am going to perform Hajj. So in other words, farada means that he is making the intention. Alright? He is making the intention to perform Hajj. But the actual intention of performing Hajj, when will that be made? Fihinna, in the months of Hajj. So, can a person make the intention to perform Hajj in the month of Ramadan? Can they? They can have an idea, a plan, okay, but the actual intention, when will that be? In the months of Hajj. Once that begins, then a person has the intention of performing Hajj. But more specifically, farada over here means that a person makes the intention of performing Hajj and he enters the state of Ihram. And he enters the state of Ihram, because we know that when a person goes for Hajj or for Umrah, he is in the state of Ihram. What is the state of Ihram? Ihram haramim. Haram, that's what you think of, right? So Ihram is the state in which certain things are haram. A person cannot do those things which are permitted otherwise. So for example, for men, are they allowed to wear pants generally? Yes. Can they wear running shoes generally? Can they wear a hat on their heads generally? Yes, they can. What about socks? Yes, they can. What about a nicely stitched shirt? Yes, they can. But when they are in the state of Ihram, can they wear stitched clothing? No. Can they wear running shoes? No. Can they wear dress shoes? No. Then what do they wear? Sandals. Right? They wear sandals. So in Ihram, they're not allowed to wear shoes that cover the top of their feet or that cover their ankles. Likewise, they cannot wear normal clothing. They have to wear the Ihram, right? Which is sheets that they have to wrap around themselves in a particular way. For women, what's their Ihram? What do they wear? What do they wear? Whatever they want, as long as it covers them properly. There is no particular kind of Ihram for women. For women, it's only the intention that matters. Okay? Otherwise as well, besides the clothes, there are certain things that are forbidden for people to do in the state of Ihram, such as cutting of the hair, trimming of the nails, right? Likewise, what else is forbidden? Wearing perfume. People cannot do that in the state of Ihram. So anyway, over here, فَمَنْ فَرَضَ فِيهِنَّ الْحَجِّ. What does it mean? That whoever enters the state of Ihram, and obviously that will be when? At the time of Hajj. Now remember I told you about Hajj Tamattu before? I told you about Hajj Tamattu. Hajj Tamattu is what? That a person in one trip performs Umrah and he also performs Hajj. But he goes and he performs Umrah first, and then he comes out of the state of Ihram, and then when the time of Hajj comes, then he puts on the Ihram again. Alright? So, if you think about it, that Umrah could be performed a day before Dhul Hijjah, right? The 8th of Dhul Hijjah. It could also be performed 10 days before Dhul Hijjah even begins. Alright? So, فَمَنْ فَرَضَ فِيهِنَّ الْحَجِّ, meaning the moment a person comes in the state of Ihram for Hajj. Alright? And this could be in any time in the season of Hajj. So, فَمَنْ فَرَضَ فِيهِنَّ الْحَجِّ, then there are certain things that a person is not allowed to do. فَلَا رَفَثْ وَلَا فُسُوقْ وَلَا جِدَالْ فِي الْحَجِّ. لَا رَفَثْ. There should be no rafath. What is rafath? Rafath is from the root letters rafasa, and rafath is used for sexual intercourse, but also any kind of sexual conduct that is between a husband and wife. So such is not allowed for a couple at Hajj. A man, a woman, neither of them, if they're performing Hajj, they cannot engage in such activity. La rafath. And if a person does, then there are serious consequences. He has to give the penalty, he has to give the kafara, his Hajj is cancelled, he cannot continue his Hajj anymore, and he actually has to repeat the Hajj again. So la rafath, it's not allowed at all. Wala fusuq, no fusuq either. Fusuq is not allowed. What is fusuq? It's from the root letters fasin qaf and fisq, fasiq, yafsuqun, right? What is this? To commit disobedience. To cross the limits of obedience and enter into the realm of disobedience, meaning to disobey Allah, in simple words. So la fusuq, there should be no disobedience, because you are taking time out of your schedule, you are spending so much money, you're actually physically present at a particular place to perform Hajj. Why? For the sake of Allah. Then how can you disobey Allah at that time? Wala fusuq, there should be no sinning. And when people gather together, are there opportunities to disobey Allah? Yes. They're multiplied. When a person is alone, can he do ghibah? Can he backbite? No, you can't. Unless you start it on your phone, okay, on your computer, right? But otherwise, when you're alone, you can't do many wrong things. You can't lie, you can't cheat, you can't backbite. But when you are with people, then the chances of sinning, they increase. So at Hajj, there are many people that have gathered together. So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it very clear, وَلَا فُسُوقٍ, there should be no sinning, no disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Likewise, we see that at Hajj, there could be many unpleasant things that may happen. Right? So this could lead to showing impatience. This could lead to fighting, which is why the next thing is wala jidal, and there should be no fighting at Hajj either. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's such a long journey, right? You're bound to be tested. And so I didn't go for Hajj, but when I went for Umrah, it was like the minute we stepped out of our house to where we went, we were just being trialed. You know, and it was just a test of our patience.
Yes. Anyone who's gone for Hajj, for Umrah will tell you such stories, right? That because it's a trip where you're telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm here for you, labbaik, Allahumma labbaik, I'm here for you. And when a person goes to Allah, then Allah will test him, right? Are you really here for me? So Allah will test him. So this is why when a person goes for Hajj, then he is tested throughout the journey. Many unpleasant things happen that normally would not happen. Many things go wrong that normally never go wrong. So every person is tested. This is why Allah says, وَلَا فُسُوقٍ وَلَا جِدَالٍ, there should be no sinning and there should be no fighting. Also, we see that at Hajj, segregation between men and women is not possible. Right? It's not possible. So some people, they take advantage of this. They look at others, they tease others, they harass others, unfortunately, even in the most holiest of places. And people have their belongings with them. And many times it happens that people are in a hurry and let's say they forget something of theirs, or a person is sitting reading Quran and their bag is open, another could easily pick their pocket or take something from their bag. They could commit theft. You know, there are many opportunities to do something wrong when there are people together. So Allah tells us, وَلَا فُسُوقٍ, there should be no sinning at all. Don't disobey Allah at all. وَلَا جِدَالٍ, and no fighting. Jidal, Jim, Dal, Lam. Jidal is argument, the dispute, and it's basically a verbal dispute in which people are fighting with each other in order to win, in order to prove themselves right. So wala jidal. Now, at Hajj, there are many opportunities to fight, unfortunately. How? In different ways. First of all, in the matters of religion. Strange, huh? You go to perform an act of worship and people argue in the matters of religion. How? People will say, no, you're not supposed to wear your ihram like this. He says, no. Who are you to tell me? My sheikh told me I'm supposed to wear my ihram like this. You mind your own business. And people become very abusive verbally. So in the matters of religion, in fiqh, because it happens that when you have so many different people over there, you wonder, why is she praying like this? And why is he standing like this? And why is he talking like this? And why is he reciting Quran like that? And what dua is he making? Oh, he's doing bid'ah, she's doing bid'ah. And people, they start arguing and fighting in the matters of religion. But it's not just limited to the matters of religion, also in other day-to-day matters, people end up fighting a lot. Excuse me, this is my spot. And the other person's like, what language are you speaking? I don't understand you. Right? Likewise, you think there's going to be a nice, decent line, and you're standing and waiting in line, and the next thing you know, you've been standing there for an hour and there's no line. And you go to a store, you're trying to buy some groceries, as soon as you reach out for an apple, and the next thing you know, somebody else grabbed that apple before, and you just feel like yelling at them. So, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? La jidal, no fighting. Don't fight at Hajj, because you didn't go there to fight. You went there to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you don't want to ruin your Hajj by fighting with others. So, 3 things people are not allowed to do. La rafath, wala fusuq, wala jidal fil Hajj. وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا, and whatever you do, min khairin, of any good. Meaning, any good deed that you perform, يَعْلَمْهُ اللَّهُ, Allah knows it. يَعْلَمْهُ, ilm, Allah knows about it. Any good deed that you do. If you think about it, 3 don'ts are mentioned over here. 3 no's, 3 prohibitions. And the list of do's, it's endless. 3 don'ts. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ, whatever good that you do, there's no limit to that. The limit to doing good is the limit that you set for yourself. You can do a lot of good, but it's up to you how much you want to do. And like it was mentioned that every person is tested at Hajj. Everything that goes apparently wrong at Hajj is an opportunity to either do good or to do evil. It's up to you how you look at it. It's up to you how you look at it. For example, when it comes to sabr, what's the reward of sabr? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He will reward those people who are patient without any measure. And there are many times at Hajj when a person has to do sabr. But some people, they don't do sabr. Instead, they go and fight and they go and argue with others. It happens that you want to buy food and you can't find any food. It happens that your agent told you, or your leader, your Hajj leader, they told you that certain things will happen at certain times, and nothing like that is happening. Why did you charge us all that money for this? Right? So people get very angry at certain times. Now that time, either you do sabr or you display impatience. I have seen myself at Hajj, there were certain things that didn't go perfectly fine. And it happens in every group. Even if it's the most expensive group package that you can get, there will be things that are unpleasant. And I witnessed myself that at Hajj there were some people who were furious. Instead of reciting Quran, making dua, worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know what they were doing? Fighting with each other. Fighting with each other, literally, angry, their faces full of anger. Going red, literally. And there were others who were in the same group, who were suffering the same problem, but they were sitting, reading Quran, making dua, whatever they had to do. So it's up to you how you look at it, right? There are certain things that are forbidden. You have to stay away from them. And the more you stay away from them, the more opportunity you will find to do good. وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ. And remember, any good deed that you're doing, who knows it? يَعْلَمْهُ اللَّهُ. Allah knows about it. Because other people may never understand the difficulty that you're experiencing in your heart. How upset you are, how angry you may be, how hurt you are, how worried and concerned you are, how tired you are. Other people may never understand. Who knows? Allah knows. So وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ يَعْلَمْهُ اللَّهُ وَتَزَوَّدُوا. And take provision. For who? For yourselves. For what? For the journey. Tazawwadu is from the root letter Zay, Waw, Dal. And Zad or Zawd is to take provisions for a trip. That, for example, you are going with your friend to Ottawa. Okay? And you say, oh, never mind, I'll leave my wallet at home. It's okay. I mean, she's paying for the gas anyway. All right, you go without your wallet, without any cash. What's going to happen when you're hungry? What's going to happen when you have to pay for the hotel? What's going to happen when you have to refill the gas? Can you expect your friend to pay for everything, to take care of everything? And if your friend has to, what will they say? I'm never going with this person again. Never, ever. And it's going to ruin your friendship with them. So what is Zad? Zad is the provision that a person takes, that a traveler takes with him to suffice him for the journey. To suffice him for the journey. Many times it happens when people are going for a trip, either they take too much stuff or they take very little stuff. Has it ever happened with you? That you go somewhere, you're like, why did I bring all these clothes for just 3 days? What was I thinking? And then another trip that you take and you wonder, why didn't I bring more clothes? What was I thinking? Why didn't I? So either we take too much or too little. And when does that happen? When we're not thinking about the trip. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when you go for Hajj, then tazawwadu. Take something with yourself. Take with you what will suffice you for the journey. Because who is Hajj obligatory on anyway? Those who can afford it. So if you can afford it, then take whatever you need for that trip. وَتَزَوَّدُوا. فَإِنَّ. For indeed, خَيْرَ الزَّادِ. The best provision is what? التَّقْوَى. The taqwa. The best thing that you could take with yourself for Hajj is what? It is taqwa. You know, sometimes we say, oh, you know what? This water bottle, it helped me so much throughout the trip. These shoes, I love them. They were so good throughout the trip. This phone, it helped me so much. It saved my trip. We say these kind of things, right? Because we benefited from them a lot. And we think that if we didn't have that particular object, our trip would have been a total fail, or it would be extremely hard. Now, what is the most important thing that you need for Hajj? Taqwa. That's the most essential thing that you need to take along with yourself. Because Hajj is not a vacation. It's not a holiday. It's far from a holiday. Far from a typical vacation. Very far. Because it's an extremely difficult journey that is full of tests. Right? And if you think you're going for fun, you're going to be very disappointed. It's a journey that you're taking for who? For your soul. It's ibadah. And your soul, your ruh, your heart, what does it need? Taqwa. That is nourishment, that is food for the soul. If you're going for mountain climbing, what do you need? The proper gear, the proper equipment. Without it, you can't do mountain climbing properly. Likewise, when you're going for Hajj, you're going there not just to sit in buses and watch other people and eat food and go sleep at your hotel. No, you're going there to worship Allah. You're going there to make dua. You're going there to recite the Quran, to stand in prayer. And for that, your soul needs to be well nourished. Your heart needs to have energy. Because if you don't have that right equipment, then you won't be able to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala properly. So the most important thing that people need for Hajj is what? Taqwa. That is most important. And this is the reason why we see that if a person goes for Hajj and yet he is fighting, what's the problem? Where's the problem? Taqwa, right? Likewise, if a person is going and he says, I don't feel like praying, I don't feel like making dua. Everybody's standing at Arafat making dua and this person is lying down, talking to other people, checking his phone, wasting his time. Why? Why is he doing that? Why isn't he taking advantage of Hajj? Because what is missing? Taqwa. I remember the sister, she went for Hajj. When she came back, I was asking her how her experience was, and she was saying that she noticed that people who weren't used to praying from before, they couldn't enjoy Hajj. People who weren't used to reciting Quran from before, they couldn't enjoy Hajj. For them, Hajj was difficult. And other people, who are in that habit of praying to Allah, praying salah, reciting the Quran, they fully enjoy Hajj. So the khayr zad, the best provision that a person needs for Hajj is taqwa. فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. And you see, taqwa is what? The fear of Allah that stops you from doing wrong and makes you do good. And at Hajj, that is exactly what you need to do. Stay away from those things that are forbidden and do good. So for that, taqwa is essential. فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. وَاتَّقُونِ, and fear me, meaning fear Allah. يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ, O people of intellect. O those who have lub. Albab is a plural of lub. O people who have intellect, fear Allah. What does it show? That the more intelligent a person is, the more God conscious he is, the more taqwa he has. What do we think? The more far from religion a person is, the more intelligent he is. It's the exact opposite. The more religious a person is, the more intelligent he is. That is true intelligence. So وَاتَّقُونِ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ, fear me, O people of intellect. Scholars have said that this part of the ayah, وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى, this part of the ayah was revealed concerning the people of Yemen. The people of Yemen, when they would go for Hajj, they wouldn't take anything with themselves. They wouldn't take their supplies. And they would say, we are here for Allah, and we trust on Allah, and Allah will take care of us. And you know what they would do at Hajj? They would beg before other people. They would ask them, you got some food? You got some money? You got some this? You got some that? They would say, we are the mutawakkilun. We are those who trust on Allah. They would bring nothing with themselves. So this verse was revealed that وَتَزَوَّدُوا, take stuff with you that you need, but don't just get so busy in preparing the physical needs, the physical things that you would need for the trip, but also focus on developing your taqwa, because that is what will help you. Sometimes it happens that some people, they don't think about where they're going, what they have to do, and when they get to the masjid or to wherever, they're wondering, okay, I don't have this, I don't have that, and they're looking at other people, they're expecting that other people should help them, and they start depending on others. They make things difficult for themselves, and they make things difficult for others. So you have to take with you what you need, but don't get so caught up in that that you forget the main thing, taqwa. Focus on that as well. Take that with you as well. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ, there is no blame on you. Junah, Jim, Noon, Ha. Junah is sin. Okay? So there is no sin on you, O people of Hajj, أَن تَبْتَغُوا, that you seek. Ba, ghain, ya. Ibtigha, to seek. So there is no sin on you if you seek fadlan, fadl, bounty, provision, from who? مِن رَبِّكُمْ, from your Lord. Meaning when you go for Hajj, there is no harm that you gain some fadl. What is fadl? Fadl is that which is extra, that is a favor done to someone. And fadl refers to wealth, money, profit from trade, rizq. Why is rizq called fadl? Because if you think about it, the rizq that we have, can we say it is our right? The money that Allah has given us, the wealth that Allah has given us, can we claim that it's our right? No. It's the favor of Allah on us. Because if it was our right, then it would have been the right of every single person on this planet. But we see that everyone does not have the same amount. So fadl is what? Wealth. There's no harm, there's no sin on you if you seek some profit from trade at Hajj. Meaning when you go for Hajj, yes, you're going there to worship Allah. But then is it okay to shop? Tell me, is it okay to do some shopping over there? Or should you look down on people who are shopping over there? Look at them, wasting their time. How greedy. They can eat at McDonald's somewhere else. Why are they eating McDonald's here? They could eat at Burger King somewhere else. Why are they eating Burger King here? I know people who when they go for Hajj Umrah, they're so excited. Yes, because they're going to the Haram, but they're like, we can have halal Burger King. We can have halal pizza. We can have halal this, halal that. So is it okay to have such excitement in your heart? Allah says there is no harm. You see, one is that a person is going for Hajj and he's thinking, yes, I will go there. There are millions of people. I should take the stuff with me and I can sell it and I'll make this much profit. And yeah, on the side I'll do Hajj. Okay? Likewise, a person says, yes, I'm going for Hajj. The first day I'm going to eat there. The second day I'm going to eat there. The third day I'm going to go shop there. The fourth day I'm going to do this. Fifth day I'm going to eat that. And yes, I'll do the rituals of Hajj as well. But another is that a person says, yes, we're going for Hajj. And we will also take benefit of shopping and other things. But, that's outside of the days of Hajj. Outside of the times of Hajj. So there is a difference in these two intentions. One is that a person is primarily going for dunya. And the other is that a person is saying, yes, we will get some dunya benefit as well, but that's not our main goal. So, in that way, Allah says there's no harm on you. There's no blame on you, no sin on you if you enjoy some dunya over there. Because our deen is very practical, very realistic. Allah knows us. We can't live, we can't survive without fulfilling our needs. People need to make money. So if a person goes, does some business over there, makes money, makes some profit, no harm. Likewise, if a person goes there and shops and buys a lot of hijabs and abayas and lots of dates, no harm. Okay? Don't think that, oh my God, look at these people, they went for Hajj. Looks as if they went for a shopping spree. No, don't think like that. Never be judgmental about other people. So, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ أَن تَبْتَغُوا فَضْلًا مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ. No blame on you. Likewise, sometimes what happens is that people think that if they're traveling all the way from North America, they're going for Hajj, might as well, go to some other country and visit some family or friends over there. And other people say that, no, you can't do that. You're going for Hajj, only go for Hajj. That should be your only intention. There is no harm. There is no harm that a person seeks some worldly benefit on the Hajj trip. He may do so, as long as his main goal is the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the focus. Right? Now, some rulings of Hajj. فَإِذَا أَفَضْتُمْ مِنْ عَرَفَاتٍ. Then, when you return from where? From Arafat. أَفَضْتُمْ is from the root letters fa, ya, dad. Fayd, faydan is to overflow. Overflow. When something fills up and then it begins to overflow. So for example, you have a cup and you're pouring some water into it. Once it's full, what's going to happen? If you don't stop pouring the water is going to overflow. It's going to start pouring down from the sides. Okay? Likewise, imagine there are 500 people in a place. They were, let's say, attending a conference. For example, you guys, you're here in a classroom. in the masjid. You're sitting in your class. Once this class is over, then what's going to happen? You're going to start pouring out of the doors. Right? Why? So that you can go back. So, ifada, okay, afattum from ifada. Ifada is when a whole lot of people, they are, returning from somewhere all together. So it's like a flood of people pouring out, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And at Hajj you see this, that for example, after the prayers, you see from the doors, from the gates of the Masjid al-Haram, how people are pouring out. From the stairs, how people are coming down. Right? From Mina, how people are leaving together. So over here, فَإِذَا أَفَضْتُمْ مِنْ عَرَفَاتٍ, when you all are returning from Arafat. Now when did people go to Arafat at Hajj? When? First they went to Mina, they spent a day there, and then they went to Arafat. Right? And they stayed the day in Arafat, and after sunset, where did they go? To Muzdalifah. So when you are returning from Arafat, then don't go straight back to Mina. After Maghrib, sunset at Arafat, then don't go straight to Mina. Instead, what should you do? فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ, then you should remember Allah, do dhikr of Allah, where? عِنْدَ الْمَشْعَرِ الْحَرَامِ, at Mash'ar al-Haram. What is Mash'ar al-Haram? Muzdalifah. So in other words, stop at Muzdalifah, camp over there, and remember Allah over there. And after that, then you go back to Mina. So فَإِذَا أَفَضْتُم مِّنْ عَرَفَاتٍ فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ عِنْدَ الْمَشْعَرِ الْحَرَامِ. Now two names are used over here, Arafat, and secondly, al-Mash'ar al-Haram. Arafat, remember this is a proper name, it's a proper noun, and it is the name of a place. Arafat is a plain that is outside the Haram. It is outside the area of the Haram. Okay? It's in the hill. Like we are in the hill, the area that is halal. Okay? And Haram is the area that is of the Masjid al-Haram and its surrounding area. Okay? Why is it called Haram? Because over there people are not allowed to fight, kill, cut down trees, so on and so forth. You can't do that over there. But Arafat, it's a place that is outside of the Haram. Not too far from the Masjid al-Haram, but outside of the Haram. And it's around 22 kilometers east from Makkah. So 22 kilometers, okay, not too far. And Arafat, people go there on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, and they stay the entire day over there, and they pray their Salatul Zuhr and Asr at Masjid Namira or at Arafat. And the rest of the time they spend standing in wuquf, and standing and doing what? Praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making dua, seeking His forgiveness, asking for Jannah, so on and so forth. And this wuquf, the standing, is until the time of sunset. Once the sun sets, then what do people do? They pack up and they leave for Muzdalifah. They don't pray Maghrib over there. Instead, they pray Maghrib where? At Muzdalifah. When they reach, then they pray Maghrib and Isha together. What does this word Arafat mean? Arafat is from the root letters Ain Rafa, and it is said that Arafat is called Arafat because it's a place where a person truly gets to recognize himself and his Lord. Because it's from Irfan, Ma'rifah, recognition. Because you're standing for an entire day, and what are you doing? Making dua. You know when you're making dua, when you're praying to Allah, you really think deep down in your heart. You question yourself, what do I really want? Do I really mean what I'm asking for? And the more sincerely your heart will be involved, the more you recognize yourself, your needs, and the more you beg before Allah, the more you get the ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. So Arafat is the place where people make dua and they get recognition of themselves, of their Lord. This is why it's called Arafat. It's also said that it's called Arafat because when the angel Jibreel taught Ibrahim a.s. the ways of Hajj, the rituals of Hajj, he asked Ibrahim a.s. over here, Arafta? Now you recognize, now you've known. So from that place came to be known as Arafat. It's also said that it's called Arafat because people get to know each other over there. People, they've been traveling together, and after a whole day in Mina, now when they're at Arafat, they really get to know each other. So there are many reasons, Allahu A'lam, but this is the meaning of the word Arafat. Now the second term that's used in the ayah is Al-Mash'ar al-Haram. Mash'ar from the root letters Shin, Ain, Ra, and Shu'ur, La yash'urun. What does it mean? To perceive, to get to know about something. Sha'ira, Sha'air. What is that? A sign or a symbol, right? Something through which you recognize. So Mash'ar, this is symbol. Okay, it means symbol, landmark, something through which you recognize a place. So Mash'ar of what? Al-Haram. Al-Mash'ar al-Haram marks the boundary of the Haram. Meaning it's the place from which you know that, okay, beyond this is Haram. Okay? It's the place, it's the point where when you reach, you recognize, okay, beyond this is Haram. For example, if you're driving on a road and all of a sudden you see the road signs have changed to, let's say, green, and you know that green is only for the highways, then that shows you're on the highway, for example. Okay? So likewise, Al-Mash'ar al-Haram marks the boundary of the Haram. What is Al-Mash'ar al-Haram? It is also known as Muzdalifah. Okay? It is the plain of Muzdalifah, and it's a valley, it's a plain that is 6 miles from the Kaaba. How far is it from the Kaaba? How far? 6 miles. And over here, the pilgrims, they stop on the way from Arafat to Mina, and they spend the night over here. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that when you're returning from Arafat and you're going back to Mina, then don't go straight, rather stop at Al-Mash'ar al-Haram. Stop over there. And what should you do? فَاذْكُرُوا Remember Allah. Remember Allah how? In your heart, on your tongue, and also through your limbs. Because when the Hajjaj, when the pilgrims get to Muzdalifah, what do? Firstly, they pray Maghrib and Isha. So this is remembering Allah through your tongue and also through your limbs and also through your heart. Then we also see that before the Salah, the Adhan is made, the Takbir, all of that, that is all dhikr. After Salah, again, you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we see that the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ was, what he did when he went for Hajj is that he slept after that. In the night, he slept for some time. But some people think that you should remember Allah all night long at Muzdalifah. That is not the sunnah. Your body also has a right on you. That is a time to sleep. So this is why we should also sleep. However, we know that the Prophet ﷺ, he, in the morning after Fajr, he did a lot of dhikr. So at Fajr time, when people have prayed Fajr, after that, again do dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ عِنْدَ الْمَشْعَرِ الْحَرَامِ. And then after the sun had completely risen, then the Prophet ﷺ left for Mina. So فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ عِنْدَ الْمَشْعَرِ الْحَرَامِ. But how should people remember Allah over there? Allah says, وَاذْكُرُوهُ, and remember Him. How? كَمَا هَدَاكُمْ, just as He has guided you. Kama, just as, meaning in the same way, hadakum, that He has guided you, and hada from hidayah. Remember hidayah? One type of hidayah is of irshad, knowledge, instruction. So remember Him in the way, in the manner that Allah has instructed you to remember Him. Meaning don't invent your own ways of remembering Him, rather remember Him in the way that He has instructed you to do. And this shows that when it comes to acts of worship, how should we perform them? In the way that Allah has prescribed. We cannot invent our own ways of worship. وَاذْكُرُوهُ كَمَا هَدَاكُمْ. Another meaning of kama is because. Kama also means because. So, وَاذْكُرُوهُ كَمَا هَدَاكُمْ, remember Him, meaning be grateful to Allah at this point. Why? Because He has guided you. And the second meaning of hidayah is what? Tawfiq, that He gave you the opportunity to come to perform Hajj. So remember Him, thank Him.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So inshallah, we will pause here. Yes, we'll stop here for today and we'll continue from here next week, inshallah. So again, as part of our course, let's continue part of quizzes. So inshallah, Sister Sabah will open the quiz for just 2 part 1 after class today. All right. So inshallah, we can keep it open for a week. This sounds good. Does it sound good? For a week is good, inshallah. Just 2 part 1. Yes. We'll tell you. Yeah, the quiz. We have to take the quiz as we go ahead, right? We just fell behind Birgis because of the Aisha, yeah, you will get a break, right? Okay, you want a break now because we were just thinking we'll do that. Can we at least share the assignment then? Assignment for just 1. It will be an open book. Just trying to come at par with our lessons so that then you will have a break after. Okay, the assignment you will share then. So Sabah, is it okay? We'll share the assignment first. And let's keep it open for 10 days. And it's an open book assignment. You only need your tafsir tafsir notes very good. And mashallah, I'm positive you all have very good tafsir notes. So you have to open up your tafsir notes and try the assignment, inshallah. So Sister Sabah can open it, if not today, maybe on Thursday. Or if you can open it today, let them know. We'll give them 10 days. And it's an open book assignment. When you open it, you can keep saving it. You do not have to finish it at one sitting. You can keep saving it and come back to it. It saves. Okay, Sister Shakira will try, inshallah. We were ready with just to test 1 assignment. Part 1, it does take a lot of technical work. Do make dua for all those who work on that. Mashallah, barakallah for us. Sister Sabah works on it. So just because of we lost our first previous portal, most of the sisters, the course in charges had to work hard to make another test. And also keep in mind that when we do not perform well on the first quiz, like the test which is opened, it's not easy to, give the retest, because the retest also, we have to work on that, make a one which, fits in, and the student also can, it's easy for them. It's not exactly like the test, first one, but it's like a little bit just to judge that wherever you went wrong. No, I'm just talking about that, Birgis, but yes, Ami. But right now we are talking about opening the assignment. Yes, it is multiple choice. Sometimes it's like an assignment. It's not like a test. So you will have to do some writing and all. You mean practice assignment, Rizwana? I don't think so. We have any practice assignment. What do you mean, Avatul? When do you open it means what? So once you open it, the assignment, whatever questions you have, first you try the assignment. The questions and all the instructions will be there when you go on the page, right? Also, Sister Sabah is going to email them to you. If you need any zoom in or zoom out instructions, that also are mostly pasted when you open the test or the assignment. If not, you can ask those questions. It is control and plus for zoom out and control and minus for when you want to make it smaller. So, yeah, so you know those things. Or sometimes the mouse also works. When you scroll up, it zooms out. When you scroll down, it zooms in. Those things for Arabic lit parts. And if you have any other questions, Sister Sabah will guide you. Just keep asking your questions here, or you can ask in WhatsApp group, and inshallah she'll address them, because we do not, she was actually going to give you a demo right now, but then I said, then the class goes over time, right, a lot. So just keep your questions ready if you have any, but hopefully I don't think so there should be any questions. Assignments are open book. They are, you just have to write, like how I told you today, 3 parts. If you just write from the ayah, you quote exactly the Arabic part or the meaning of that Arabic part, that's good enough. Okay, so from when it's open, We can have 10 days, right? And then like I just said, I'll repeat again, it's not needed to finish in one sitting, and there's no time limit. You can have multiple times you can open it and save it. It says auto saves, so you don't even have to bother about that. But only we make dua, Allah, keep the websites working fine. Sometimes this website is not working. Sometimes that has some errors because this is a totally new portal. So we make dua, Allah, keep everybody's work safe, inshallah. And you try to go over your tafsir notes. When your tafsir notes are all ready and you keep 1 hour for you aside and you attempt, inshallah, bismillah ta'ala, you will finish it. I'm positive of that, unless you're really very slow or there's some other challenges for you to type or something, then it might take a little over, okay? The whole Juz 1 test, which is assignment. Ayah 1, Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Baqarah 1 to 139, right? Yes. We will give all the details. No, it's an assignment. It's not a quiz. You have to, and it's open book. Are you talking about the Juz 2 quiz, Burjis? The Juz 2 quiz, yes, that will start. We will let you know about that later on now. Let's not confuse everybody. Okay, that's first. All the first halves are mentioned on the portal. If you go, Juz half endings are put down over there. So if you go and open that, you will see them. All the Juz half endings are there. So the test, Juz 2 part 1, it's called. That quiz, that test will be from Ayah 140 onwards to whatever the Ayah says over there, inshallah. Okay. So for now, just let's not confuse everybody else. So for now, if you open the assignment, it's on the full Juz 1. We'll talk about that, Afrin. It will be from the old PDF because we did that in the class. We shared the old translation, right? Only the changes which Sister Taimiyyah said, you are supposed to write them down and note them down. So you have to answer those, inshallah. Yes, Jazakallah Khair Sabah for noting that. Juz Nif's portion under course resources. Just go and look, and it's been there right from the beginning of the course. Juz Nif means half. So the ayat are mentioned over there. Inshallah, take a look and you will find it. Okay, Burjis? So let's end on time. Subhanallah, I just wanted to announce an end, but we did go over time. Yes. Yes, so Jazakallah Khairan for clearing that. We just use Juz 1 new PDF, so that's where we refer to those translations. But Juz 2 and Juz 3 half, we are using the old blue Juzes, the Ajza, the translations from there. Only whatever we listen and yet there are, highlight the one which Sister Taimiyyah mentions, highlight that. There are 2, 3, couple of them translations options for you. So highlight the ones which Sister Taimiyyah mentions, okay? So I think that sounds nice. Any questions, you can carry on WhatsApp, inshallah. Let's end the class. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika al-izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر آمين يا رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بارك الله فيكم. جزاكم الله خير كثيرا. See you inshallah next week.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahil hamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahil hamd. Allah